When days like this are out, Commissioner Gordon in the sports world sends out a beam where everyone in the sports world sees the big S and they go, big sales, big sales, big sales. Look, I see it. There it is. When there's news, yours truly's here. Look at this. There it is. It's the bat signal for big sales. There must be news in the world of sports. That's what they do. How you doing? Holy cow. Always news. When it concerns the Philadelphia Eagles and when it concerns the NFC East, Dallas Cowboys. By the way, Battle Royale is back at 4:30. Mark Holmes with some good news finally. There was a trade between the Steelers and the Cowboys. George Pickens is now part of the best trio in passing in the NFC East. No question about it. I mean, Dak healthy and back makes that trio the best passing offense in the NFC. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the best unit and deliver the best results. But you can't be 30th and say you're better than the Cowboys when your guy finished 20th last year in every statistic known to man. We ran the ball, Sills. I know. I'm not saying that the kid's not talented. I'm saying that's who you are. Now, is that going to deliver a Super Bowl for the Cowboys? Absolutely not. We'll get to that in a minute here. However, Philadelphia Eagles taking a gigantic shitori on Dallas Goddard. Asking the man to take a pay cut who helped deliver a Super Bowl to your team a year ago. Basically, what they did was they took the Howie Roseman trousers down and right on Dallas Goddard's face. They told him to take a $4.5 million pay cut if you want to come back. The Eagles were never bringing that guy back. Dallas Goddard had to relent. He had to relent and take a pay cut if he wanted to play in the Eagles. Now, let me give you this from Dallas Goddard's spot. And if you're a player, this is by far a great deal for the Eagles. No one's debating that. It's a great deal for the team. You got a really good football player at a discount. Okay. No one's ripping them or the Eagles for that. Here's Goddard's angle if this were me. Okay? If this were me, I'd be saying this. Do I want to take $3.5 million or $4 million on the open market in Carolina, Tennessee, some bad team? Or do I want to take that scalp and do I want to take a $4.5 million pay cut, come back for 1 year and do a Javon Hargrave, a Josh Sweat, a Milton Williams, have a great year and go on the open market and make myself some big money in a last 3-year contract? It's probably in the best interest, if you're the agent in Dallas Goddard, that you do that. Who wants to go to a place where you have no shot in the world at winning? And if you don't have a shot at winning, and if you get hurt in a place that you don't win, your market value will go down even more. His market value will not diminish in Philadelphia because the Eagles are pretty much almost guaranteed to have a good season this coming year unless, God forbid, something happens when it comes to the injury on the personnel or the roster. So for me, I would come back and I would say, hey, look, do I like the $4.5 million pay cut? Writing's on the wall. 2025 is the last football season for Dallas Goddard in Philadelphia. And it gives them more time to figure it out on both sides. Dallas gets to have a good season, show what he's going to become and what he means to an offense. This is basically going to be an audition for him for 17 weeks. So it's the proper move to do. This is the right move. for him. My market value will not diminish playing in Philly. My market value will diminish if I get hurt or have a shitty year because the quarterback situation is not resolved in Carolina or someplace that doesn't have a good quarterback. Your market value goes down, and then you're really talking about putting uphill to try to find yourself a 3-year contract in a team that it fits. So again, I think he did the right thing. Again, the Eagles had no intentions of re-signing that player. Why? Look at the money. Tells you flat out. Told the kid to take a $4.5 million pay cut if you want to play here. Okay. Eagles win this. They totally do. Team-friendly deal. Awful for the player, but Dallas Goddard said there's a premium on winning. So he said that that's probably in the best interest for me. It's not a bad move. You don't want to take haircuts late in your career or once you start getting on the back 9 of your career, but you got to start making some decisions on what you want to do, and especially since this is an audition. 2025 is about an audition for Dallas Goddard. It's the right move. Super chats go to the top. Please hit that like button. Dallas Goddard ain't going anywhere. How you doing? No, absolutely. Did the right thing. You absolutely took a shit on him, but hey, they had the leverage. And so the Eagles took a shit on him. A guy who led the Eagles in receptions during the playoffs, you took a shit on him. Okay? No, I wasn't wrong. Goddard was never coming back unless he took a pay cut. Absolutely. No, it's the right thing for the player. It's the right thing. And the Eagles took a shit on him. Did they not? Did they not take a shit on him? Yes or no? Because I remember yesterday you said the tush push will be gone. Do you believe that will be their plan B? Hey, look, man, I don't believe the tush push should be gone, but I think end of the month they're going to vote that thing out of the league. Devontae Smith took a haircut. Bro, Devontae Smith got an extension. This is not an extension. Okay? This is a 1-year deal. This is not an extension. Don't act like it. It's a 1-year, hey, we're going to do it 1 more year. And we're going to move on. This is not a contract extension. Don't make it seem like it is. Good for the Eagles had the leverage. They used it and they took a shit on them. Take a pay cut. You want to come back? Take the pay cut. I mean, I don't know any other way to look at it. Still says, an Eagle fan, I like it when they take on the identity like the Broad Street Bullies. Absolutely. And that's what they're going to do this year, too. They're going to run the shit out of the ball. Okay? Hey, they were never bringing this player back unless he took a pay cut. Look at the deal he just signed. It's $4.5 million less. They took a crap on the player. Did they not? Did they not? They took a gigantic crap on him. How do you not look at it that way? If your boss comes to you and says, I want you to take a pay cut, and you're delivering and you're playing well, and you were one of the reasons why the passing game did anything in the postseason, you think that's a good thing? Spinning what? He took a pay cut. Spinning what? It's a 1-year contract. They're moving on after this. Or they would have given him, and basically, he took a 30% pay cut. to come back and play. How are you not looking at it any other way than that? Wrong about what? That the Eagles were bringing him back in the current financial situation he was in yesterday? I'm not wrong. Big Sill's right again. How you doing? You should take your pants down and just take a Dallas Goddard. That's what we're going to start calling it. They took a giant Dallas, wiped their Goddard. Sills, you swore he was gone. I did. I thought he wouldn't take the pay cut. He did. Gave him a 1-year contract, and he's back. Huh. Wow, what a gigantic shit the Eagles took on Dallas Goddard. Woo! Unbelievable. Let's get to the Cowboy deal. George Pickens, now a member of the Dallas Cowboys. I like Pryor for the other guard. Dude, for weeks you said he was gone. I did. He took a fucking pay cut. Nobody takes a pay cut. You're damn right. They bullied him into a pay cut. Congratulations. I thought you reward players for doing their job. It's all right. I mean, you guys can spin it any way you want. You ask the player, and remember what Howie even said? We're not there. Pay cut. Took a shit on Goddard. Keep him coming. Pay cut. Took a shit on Goddard. Facts. Pay cut. Took a shit on Goddard. He was never coming back unless he relented and took a pay cut. You could spin it any way you want. Dallas Goddard was asked to take less money if you want to be here. End of story. So let's take a look at this deal now. George Pickens going to the Dallas Cowboys. Pickens to the Cowboys. Let's take a look at this deal. Cowboys and Steelers have made a trade. They will send George Pickens to the Cowboys in exchange for a third rounder and a late round swap. I mean, one thing I'll say to you about this move, I don't understand the DK Metcalf move. I mean, if you make a trade for that and you haven't done anything at quarterback except Will Howard and Mason Rudolph, I'm not really getting this DK Metcalf trade. I would assume that you wanted to have somebody on the other side of Metcalf that would have been a competent wide receiver. I'm just not getting that. Get this, $10 million to play 10 games. Good deal. Took a shit on Goddard, $4.5 million. Pay cut. Any way you want to slice it up, Mikey, pay cut. Hey, you could spin it to make it sound any way you want. I'm telling you reality. When a player looks at his paycheck and they're 30% less than what it was a year ago, it's called a pay cut. Seeing Pickett to Dallas, I wish we kept Slay. Let's take a look at this. So, I threw this out there. Dallas now adds another wide receiver on the other side of CeeDee Lamb. Can't always be right, Sills. I'm dead right. How you doing? Pay cut. Took a shit on him. The best passing offense in the NFC East is whom now? Let's see. You've got Deebo Samuel. You've got Terry McLaurin. And you've got Jaden Daniels. In Dallas, you've got CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens and Dak Prescott. In New York, I guess Jackson Dart and Malik Neighbors, and then another dude. Last year, the Philadelphia Eagle quarterback was 20th in passing yards, 21st in TDs, 10th in taking sacks. Who has the best passing offense? 2903. The Cowboys do. Again, that doesn't always translate into winning Super Bowls, obviously. I'm asking you, the best passing offense is the Dallas Cowboys. The quarterback doesn't throw the ball. And if you want to add to you guys' narrative, the Eagles don't ask him to. Facts. Okay? I need facts. They don't ask him to. Why? Because they have Saquon Barkley. The Cowboys don't. If you listen to my words, who has the best offense? It's not Dallas. Dallas can't run the ball to save their life. They can't. The Eagles can throw the ball and run it with anybody in the league, if not the best. But as a passing offense, the Eagles are superior. I mean, the Eagles are not anywhere near the passing game of what now you have somebody on the other side. Okay? Seals, if I was wrong, I could have been right. So I'm not wrong because I could have been. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Nimrod. Pay cut. Shit on. Thank you. All right. Again, you're looking at two different things when we're saying this. Who's got the best offense in the NFC? The Eagles. Who's got the best passing game? By far, Dallas. It's not close. Well, Sills, did you see the Super Bowl? I know. He's not asked to be a passer. Not when you have Barkley. I didn't say Dallas had the best offense. Okay? Sills does a hell of a job transforming nobodies into great receivers. Pittsburgh does it. Oh, yes. Pittsburgh does a great. Hey, well, look what they've done. Antonio Brown. Go back in the days. John Stallworth. Hines Ward. Absolutely. George Pickens. I thought Pickens was pretty good at Georgia, actually. I did. Hit the like button. Hang on for a second here. Once again, you're getting butthurt, and I knew you would. Still, you don't know what Dak is coming off this injury, and he wasn't playing well before it. It's Washington. Okay, that could be. That could be. Washington could. It's what? Dude, if I were to rank the top passing games in the NFC East right now, it would be Dallas, Washington, and Philly. If I were to rank the best offenses, it'd be Philly, Washington, and Dallas. It's a different conversation. You're not the best at everything. You weren't a year ago. Stop acting like it. Seals, realistically, if we had a better passing quarterback, this offense would be the greatest show on turf. Ask yourself this, Kyle. If A.J. Brown had his pick of quarterbacks in Philly, you think he'd take Hurts over Joe Burrow? Or A.J. Brown? Do you? Nobody would. Quarterback was 20th in passing in every stat last year, except completion percentage, and he threw the ball 300 times. Dude, I'm not. Sills, Dak in a big game. You taking him? No. Absolutely not. No. But the Dallas Cowboys improved their passing game even more so. Guys, Dak's a better passer. Do you agree Dak Prescott's a better passing quarterback than Jalen Hurts? Yes or no? Is he a better passing quarterback? Yes or no? On a consistent basis. And does Dallas ask him to do that? Yes or no? Hurts is not a better passing quarterback. But that doesn't win Super Bowls. Why does anybody get hurt when the Cowboys are good at one thing? That's throwing the ball. But if that is what won Super Bowls, Kirk Cousins would have 6 of them. Dak is by far a better quarterback. Jalen has never done anything in the close. He'll never lead the NFL in passing touchdowns. He'll never lead the NFL in passing yards. Now, that doesn't translate to Super Bowls. All I'm saying to you is right now, Pickens makes their offense. I'll take that back. Their passing offense elite. Why are you upset with this? You just won the fucking Super Bowl running it. What do you care if the Dallas Cowboys have a better passing game than you? What really do you care? Explain that to me. Why do you care? If Dallas is a better passing, right, who cares? Who cares? That, once again, Hurts will never do the things throwing the football that Dak has ever done. Ever. You couldn't wait to meet ride Dallas. How about this, Marshall? Once again, here's a guy with shit in his brains. Nobody said he didn't have the best offense. You just want to hear somebody glazing over you and bending over for you saying that Hurts is a better, superior quarterback. He's not. He's a good team quarterback. He's a really good one. Nobody's throwing shade on him here. Is Tom Brady a better passer than Aaron Rodgers? Fuck no. You guys get, man, your little panties in a bind. Nobody's throwing shade here. At the end of the day, Dak will still find a way. Absolutely. The playoffs are his kryptonite. No one's debating that. Hurts doesn't have to lead the league. No shit. Thank you. Okay. Stat Prescott can prove it in the playoffs. Okay. Absolutely. What are you guys getting upset about? The truth? Here's better quarterbacks throwing the ball than, let me give you this one. Here are quarterbacks that are better at throwing the football than Jalen Hurts. Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, Brock Purdy, Matthew Stafford, Josh Allen, C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels, shit, maybe even Caleb Williams, Jordan Love. What does that have to do with February 9th? Nothing. Nothing. The best passing offense in the NFL's NFC is in Washington. Or it's in Dallas. Eagles don't ask their quarterback, like you said. I've been told this from Xander to everybody. Well, they didn't ask him to do it because they had Saquon Barkley. Okay. So why would you even be in that conversation then? Especially when you're 30th in passing. How are you better than those other teams throwing the ball? How are you better when you're not? You got shit on your brains. Dak will never hold. I never said he will. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Marshall. I really don't. Thank you for the super. I have no idea what you're talking about. That's not the conversation. We aren't falling for you. I'm not. You have a quarterback that throws for 4,500 yards, led the NFL in passing and passing touchdowns. You got a wide receiver who will be over 130 catches. You got another guy who will be over 1,100 yards. It's a better passing offense than you. That doesn't mean it's a better offense. I'm not going to keep making you feel good with these reach arounds. That's not what we're doing here. I was asked the question this morning, what does George Pickens do for the Dallas Cowboys? It improves their passing game immensely. Does that mean that they'll win more than 8 games? I don't know. They still got a lot of work to do on defense. And that's right. Absolutely. What are you upset about? That Dak's a better passer than Hurts? Why would you care? Why does it bother you that when you talk like this, you kind of expose what he is what you don't like about it? Well, wait, Sills, they're not asking him. I know. It's really the only team in the NFL that doesn't ask their quarterback to win games on a weekly basis. Okay. Sills, they won the Super Bowl. I know. Yeah, I'm not mad. Okay. You're not versatile. I don't know what you guys are. I think we're having 2 different conversations here. Sills, what offense would you rather have? The Eagles. Why? Well, because they run you over. Who's the better passing team? Dallas. Which offense would you rather have in the playoffs? Eagles. What are you guys talking about? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I like the trade for Pickens. If I'm Dallas, just keep it real. But Leon, you know why they're not going anywhere? They have no running game. They can't hang with Philly because Philly will run them over. But then you get guys like Marshall who want somebody and everybody to lie and tell you that Hurts is a better passer than Burrow or Dak or any of these other guys, and it ain't true. Here's what I'm talking about. Dak's a better passer than Jalen Hurts. Facts. He'll always be. So, John Elway was a better passer than Troy Aikman. What are you talking about? Why are you guys so upset? What? I don't know how. Let me see something here with Pickens. Okay, let me see something here. See, George Pickens. Pretty crazy how you guys are getting all bent for no reason. Nobody's telling you that you don't have the best offense in the NFC East. I don't know what you're talking about, actually. Let's see here. Pickens. 1,100 yards, 801, 900. That's going to 18-1, 15-3, 15-4, 12 touchdowns. Pretty good for number 2 in Dallas. Pretty good. Okay? And CeeDee Lamb, on the other hand, let's see what CeeDee's done. Dude, your quarterback was 20th in passing. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Oh, we're better throwing the ball. No, you're not. So what? Really, so what? Dallas has no running game. Here's Lamb, 1102, 1359, 1750, 1,200 yards, 1,200. He's got 38 touchdowns, 700. This guy's got 76 games started and 500 receptions in 5 years. That's pretty remarkable. Hurts better athlete, critical to run game. Okay. Congratulations. Now, how much is Jerry paying you to speak for these bums? When did I say Dallas was a better team than you, you fucking idiot? When did I say that? This guy's dumb. He gets his little panties in a bind when his girlfriend is told he's not better than somebody doing one particular skill set. So he moans. Like all of you do. Do you understand the concept of passing efficiency? Do you understand when you sit back and watch who's a better passer than your guy? Nobody throws the ball for less than $3,000 in today's passing game and says you have a great passing offense. And your receiver is 44th in targets, and your quarterback is 20th in every single stat. And the only reason he has a high efficiency percentage is because he only threw the ball 300 times. Give me a break, guy. Wait a second. Once again, nobody's throwing shade on the Eagle offense. Why are you upset? Because I say Dak's a better passer? What does that mean to win in the Super Bowl? Nothing. Zero. Against the ropes and what? Name me one thing as a skilled player throwing the ball that Jalen does better than Dak. Nothing. Against the ropes. Nobody in their right mind outside would ever say Jalen throws the ball better than Baker Mayfield. He doesn't. Doesn't matter. Dallas got better in the passing game. That's not going to be enough. It's just not. Get this one here. This is always my favorite. Throwing a deep ball, don't win Super Bowls. Tom Brady won 7. Check down Charlie. Once again, nobody on the planet would say Jalen throws the ball better or is more accurate. Nobody. Let's take a look at this. Let's go to Dak. Let's see here. Let's see Dak Prescott. Let's go Dak. Let's see here. Dak Prescott. Let's take a look at this. You really don't know what you're going to get from Dallas. No, you don't, because they don't have a running game. And this is a true statement, too, because of the new head coach and play calling. Yes, I completely agree. Black Pope, I agree. By the way, I hope he wins. Let's see. So here's Dak. 49-02, 30 touchdowns. 44-59, 37 touchdowns. Led the NFL again with 36 touchdown passes and 4,500 and 9 picks. 590 attempts. Jalen Hurts will never, ever in his entire career ever throw the ball 500 times. Ever will he throw the ball 500 times. Again, we're talking about passing offenses in the NFL. That's right. Who cares? I was asked the question today, who had the better passing offense in the NFC East? And I said the Cowboys. With the addition of Pickens on the other side, who's got the best offense in the NFC East? The Eagles. Why? Because they run you over. And they could be somewhat efficient when they need to be, but they don't ask the quarterback to throw the ball. What's not a fair statement about that? I'm asking, what did I just say that's not true? No. Once again, I was asked the question. Okay? And what the George Pickens deal meant to the Cowboy passing game. Wasn't there a deal made for a wide receiver today for the Cowboys? They asked me what I thought that meant. Well, it helps the Cowboy passing game immensely because you're not asking Pickens to be the number one guy, but they still got deficiencies in the run game. Cowboys, for them to be successful, that's a nice piece. It totally is. They got to run the ball, though. And if they can't run the ball, you get pressure on Prescott. Hey, how about this? Let me say this to you. I was going to super chat that. At the end of the day, how many people would say this? Who do you have Dallas? Do you have Dallas over or under? Here. Let me go here. Philadelphia Eagles over under 11.5 wins. I don't know. That sounds like about right. Maybe right on, maybe over 12. These guys are a bunch of Fanuc sills. When O-line provides you 7, right. That's exactly correct right there. Mikey, thank you. That's right. Hurts has been the best pass. Hurts has sucked in the passing game. A lot of us Eagle fans don't realize you can say Hurts is not elite, but as a world-class roster, but the team can survive his puny 23 TD high points. Jack, I think he's essential in that run game. He's essential. Here, look at this. I get the Eagles over 11.5 wins. I got Washington over 10.5 wins. I got the Cowboys 8.5. I don't know. That sounds about right. New York Giants 4.5. A little bit over, maybe. I don't know. If anything, maybe a game and a half. The Cowboys were at 7.5. Now I'm at 8.5 with them. I'm not telling you the Cowboys are going to win the NFC East. They got a long way to go. They got to get a running game going. Talk to me in week 5 when Pickens slams Dak for throwing interceptions when he's open and you're double talking dumbass. Hey, fucko. Your boy sucks at throwing the ball. On a consistent basis, he sucks throwing the ball. Deal with it. Now, again, it's not what they're asking him to do. As according to you guys, they don't want him to do it. They got Barkley. Okay. Why are you upset? Look at all you guys upset in here. You still got the best offense in the East. Shit, maybe in the league. What are you upset about? Starts taking pay cuts to play with. That's not what that is. That's ridiculous. Why didn't he sign a 3-year contract? How you doing? If he wanted to play with Hurts, he would have signed a 3-year contract with less money. That's such an asshole take. Really? Where's his 3-year? So if you're telling me, if you think the Eagles would have given him a 3-year contract if he decided to take $10 million for the next 3 years, that they wouldn't have signed him to a 3-year contract? What a jackass take this thing is. You got to be kidding me. Give me a break. Play? Yeah, that's right. To play with the guy who's the 30th ranked passer in the game, I'm sure they're taking pay cuts to stay in a winning environment for sure. Absolutely. It ain't the quarterback. He ain't helping them. He barely finds them. Dallas Goddard is a non-essential guy throughout the 17-game season. What was that one game you had early on in the year? Well, how many yards did he have? 100 or 600 yards this year? Right? Shit, he had 140 of them in one game. I mean, once again, what have we said? Do you really believe that Jalen Hurts is a better passer than Dak Prescott? Holy cow. He's not better than Mayfield. He's not. That's irrelevant. Jalen Hurts to the offense is what JD is to the defense. Yes. Just do your job, know your role, and we're going to be extremely effective. Amen. Absolutely true. And to the point where you're so effective in the postseason, absolutely. Bold, Eagle. Right on, great take. That is a fabulous take. Fantastic. Absolutely. Okay? George Pickens, who? He had Keely. I like that, man. That's a good one. That's right. Get this. I know. Okay. And? What's your point? Once again, let me make this very clear, and I'll talk slow for some of you, because most of you can't hear what I'm saying. I was asked today what the George Pickens move means to the Dallas Cowboys passing game. I said, it makes him the best passing unit in the East. Someone then asked me, well, that means you think they're the best offense. No. The Eagles have the best offense. It was proven February 9th. Because they run the football, and when they asked the guy to make some plays in particular games, he made some plays. But throughout the year, he didn't. His season dictated that, especially after the first 4 games of the year. Took the ball out of his hands and put the ball more in Barkley's hands. It's not a rip. They went to their skill set. They went to their strength. The strength of that offense is Barkley, not Hurts. That's what your problem is. The strength of the offense in Dallas is Dak. And is that good enough? No. Dak needs more help. Dak is not good enough to carry a football team on his back and win a Super Bowl without a running game. I don't really think there's any team that can. Okay? Okay? Now, again, by the way, if I were the Eagles and I were football fans, I would want Dallas to be somewhat relevant. It's about time. That football team hasn't done shit in 2.5 years. About time they did something. But sitting on their hands and doing nothing. And just doing nothing. They're in that cesspool that just keeps going around and around and around. Now, hey, does George Pickens close? Let me tell you this. George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb versus Keely Ringo, I'll take that all night. All night. All day and night. Now, the O-line. The Cowboy O-line. A C at best. The Cowboy run game. D. The Cowboy run defense. D. The Cowboy pass defense. D. The Pickens move improved one part of their team. They got a long way to go. And nobody will convince me. Diggs left Allen Hill left Mahomes, but everyone is dying to stay with Hurts. Yeah, they're dying to stay with Hurts. I'm sure they are. 30th best passing offense in the league. I'm sure they're dying to stay, and that's why he signed a 1-year contract. Congratulations to you, guy. It's a 1-year prove-it deal to other teams he's auditioning in a good environment. It's beneficial to the player than to go to Carolina and play with Bryce Huff or Bryce Young. Excuse me. He's going to win, go in the open market, get a 3-year contract. He ain't dying to stay. Why? Because Dallas Goddard is a target of Hurts's throughout the year. Give me a break. I'm sure all those receivers in Philadelphia love the fact that they don't get the ball thrown to them anymore. Okay? Money narrative didn't work for Sills. Goddard wants another ring. Not true. If that was the case, he would have signed a 3-year contract and gave them a deal like Devontae Smith did, and it would have been a cost-effective deal over 3 years. Instead, he said, I'll do a 1-year deal, go on the open market, and leave. That's exactly what he did. If you want to paint it any other way, go right ahead. Some sort of love affair that the quarterback has with Dallas Goddard and the rest of these guys. That's not the case. He has agents. And the agent and the player looked at it. What's beneficial to me? Is it better to sit in Philly and not go out and take more money somewhere else in a shittier environment? Or should I stay here, play 1 more year, because he was under, by the way, he was under contract. Get this. So according to some of you, he was under contract. And for him to come back, they insulted him and took a shit on him. He had 1 more year left. It wasn't like he was going to stay anyway. You can't make that make sense. And you won't make that make sense. The only way he would have stayed, and that comment would have been that he wanted to play with Hurts, would have been a 3-year deal, and he would have took less than market value the same way Devontae did, and he didn't. Facts. Eagles play 10 games versus playoff teams, plus 2 versus an improved Cowboy passing game. We need to be better than the 30th ranked passing offense. Step up, Hurts. Look, man, I'm going to say this to you, Jack. Until somebody shows me they can stop that run game, I'm going to still run that ball at him. That'd be like asking George Foreman or Mike Tyson, hey, listen, people know you're going to try to throw the haymaker, so you better box more. Why would I do that? Nobody's stopped my power punch yet. And until somebody stops my power punch, I'm going to continue to throw it. Dude, it's up to the other teams to try to adjust, not the Eagles. The Eagles ran a simplistic offense last year. Shit, you could make the argument it was like the Army offense. Run the ball right, run the ball left. And no one could stop it. That's the best offense in football. Low percentage turnovers. You don't have to worry about the ball in the air. And you're running people over. What's the problem? Hey, just because you have the top flight passing offense doesn't mean that you have the best offense. I mean, Jack doesn't get it. You minimize the time your defense has to spend on the field, which actually helps the defense. That's what a running game does. It helps your defense grow. Hey, watch this, guys. Just to give you a little bit of an insight, there's a great one right there by Rashid. Hey, just because Cincinnati's got the best passing offense in all of football, what does it mean? Nothing. It means 9 wins. If it means 9 wins with Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and you got a shitty defense and a suspect O-line, what do you care? And hey, and in all fairness, Sills, what offense would you rather have? Phillies. Phillies. Why? Because you can't stop it. I could stop the passing game. You know how? Pick, drop passes, a sack. Here's how you got to stop Barkley. I'm going to run right here, and you can't stop me. And I don't have to throw the ball. No tips, no INTs, no sacks. Well, he takes a shitload of them, but that's all right. Would you rather be Joe Burrow or Jalen Hurts' offense? I'd rather be the Eagle offense. The problem comes down that you guys are mad because of one thing. The offense doesn't run through Hurts. The offense runs through Barkley and the run game. Why? Well, the only thing that was different from 23 in the offense was Barkley. Every single person came back with one addition. Saquon. The one piece you added offensively, and Becton, was Barkley. Same personnel in 23. Goddard, Smith, Brown, O-line, get Becton, Goddard. Barkley was the upgrade. That's what won. And the ability for them to do what? Not put the ball in the air or in harm's way like they did in the first 4 games. Okay? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, guy. I know. What are you talking about? What exactly are you talking about? Super Bowl MVP? I know. What are you talking about? There's been no shade on Hurts. Now we could see how Zach Ertz felt. Win a Super Bowl and get out of here. We don't need you. All right. Dak is a better passer, but will F it up in the playoffs, guaranteed. Agreed. I'd rather have Hurts, who has the clutch gene. I don't know what that means, but sure. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for the super. Appreciate that, Philly born. Okay. This is for the first time in my broadcasting 40 years. Why are you upset? What exactly are you guys upset about? Wrong about what, Prince? That Prescott's a better thrower that has led the NFL in passing yards and touchdowns? And that he's a better passer than Hurts? I'm not wrong. Those are facts. Wrong about what? Okay, what am I wrong about? What exactly am I wrong about? Let me ask you this. Do you think Jalen Hurts will ever lead the NFL in passing touchdowns and passing yards? No, he took a shit on him and he took a pay cut. He was never coming back. He was never coming back. And he came back because he wanted to go out. And he's going to get a 3-year deal somewhere else. Okay? I was asked the question, Christopher. Once again, I was asked the question if the passing game at Dallas was improved. I said yes. Probably had the best passing attack in the NFC East. What does that mean? Why are you moaning and pointing out? So what? Okay? Get this. Okay. I don't even know what he's talking about. I have no idea what he's talking about. None. I have no idea what this means. He won it. I've admitted it. February 9th. Next. What does that have to do with what I was asked? What are you talking about? Is it just the fact you're butthurt? Sills, Team Goddard had months to find a team willing to pay him. Oh, absolutely true. They couldn't, so Howie exercised his leverage. Right. Philly would have saved $9 million post 6-1, June 1st. It's a business decision. They split the difference. Absolutely right. That's exactly what the agent, the player, and the Eagles did. Right. And he said it'd be healthier for me to stay in a winning environment instead of going somewhere else to take shittier money. Absolutely true. Okay? Butthurt over what? Over what? What are you talking about? Sounds like you guys, look at the post. You guys are the ones that are upset because you can't face the fact that there's other quarterbacks in this league that are superior in throwing the ball than your boy. That's irrelevant, really, to the conversation into winning. I'd get over that if I were all of you. It's really bad for your health. Because at the end of the day, it's a team sport. And who cares if a guy throws the football better than the other guy, or is a better passer, or leads the league? You won a Super Bowl February 9th. What are you crying about? I mean, really. Once again, I was asked a simple question, and I answered it. Who's got the best passing offense in the NFC East? Well, if you go by even last year or the last 4 years, it would be the Cowboys. But that doesn't mean they're a better offensive football team. By far. It improved the Cowboys. And again, Jerry's not looking at it right. I think that's a great addition. The Pickens deal. Is that going to put them over 8 games? I don't think so. I heard the guys this morning thinking that the Cowboys now look like a playoff team. I don't believe that. I don't think their O-line's good enough, and I don't think their D-line can stop the run. What are we talking about here? Hey, Texas guy, my friend here. Don't you agree you guys got still some work to do? You got to run the ball better, man. You've got to run the football better for you to be a more effective offense and an efficient offense. You just can't throw the football and think you're going to beat the Eagles. Now, I think the Eagles secondary is questionable. Half that secondary is gone. And to sit there and think Keely Ringo or Tristan McCullum or the kid from Texas is just going to step in and make plays is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So the question marks are going to remain, in my opinion, on that defensive side. How I said yesterday, there's only one way to beat the Eagles. You have to have a running game to keep that Eagle offense on the sidelines. Because if you don't, and they get on that field, they're going to run your defense into the mash tent, and they're going to run that clock off, and they are going to send you home with 55 offensive plays. And you're going to wonder where the game went. Leading the league in passing is irrelevant. Okay? When was the last time the leading passer won a Super Bowl? Okay. Thank you very much for being a 9-month man. I agree. Dak has no more excuses. Tell Mark that later. How about this, Leon? I think they got better in the passing game, but do I think they got better as an offensive unit? No. No. Why are people upset? Because Dak's a better thrower of the ball? Dude, as I said, Aaron Rodgers is a better thrower of the ball. Do you know how many quarterbacks in NFL history, and even when Brady played, are better throwers of the ball than him? What does that have to do with winning? Nothing. So what they're good at so what they're good at one thing. Can they protect? I don't know. Seals, if you can't stop the run and run the ball, you have no shot of winning. Amen. I've been saying that my entire life playing football, from junior football to high school to college to the pros. It's the two fundamentals in winning. Can't stop the run, can't run the ball, it's over. I was asked, okay, excuses for Dak. I'm not giving an excuse. He doesn't have a good enough offensive football team around him yet. They've improved in the passing game. They still got to get a better O-line, and they still got to get a better running back for them to win more than 8 games. I don't know what else to say. Mark Holmes coming out of hibernation. Yes, 4:30. I hear you. I'm looking forward to this too. I can't wait for the season. We have a lot of young guys on defense that's going to eat. Okay, that's a theory, and you're projecting. Not worried about the Cowboys and Pickens. I believe in our guys. Okay, that's good to have. Hey, man, that's good to think like that. Absolutely true. Eagles don't think like that because they want to see it, but it's good to have that optimism. Look at this one. This is so not true. How do you know that? He just got his NFL helmet last week, and he's better already. He's never played in an exhibition football game, and he's better than Gardner Johnson on May 7th. Well, if you're telling me it's only May 7th and we haven't played, and you're calling Andrew Makuba a better ball player than Gardner Johnson, where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that from? Or is that a theory? Because that's theory. This guy hasn't even been in full gear yet, but he's a better player than Gardner Johnson. Is that right, Rolla? Seriously, Rolla, you believe that? He hasn't even dressed in full uniform yet, with shoulder pads and full practice. He hasn't had one NFL full practice, and he's better than Gardner Johnson already? Is that right? Hey, Prince, I never said the Cowboys are better than Washington or you guys. Ever. And I won't. How about this? If I look at the Dallas Cowboys, Prince, here's teams in the NFC I would take over Dallas right now. And I'll tell you, the George Pickens deal made them a better passing team. Great. Here's the teams I would take in the NFC over the Cowboys right now. Washington, Philly, Detroit, Green Bay, maybe Minnesota, Tampa, the Rams, Seahawks, Arizona maybe. I mean, what are we talking about here? How are you stopping the run? How are you running the ball? I don't see it. You guys are under some impression because I said they got George Pickens and it improved their passing game. And he's got the best passer in the NFC and Dak, and the highest volume catcher of passes in the NFC and CeeDee Lamb the last 3 years. And you added another guy who's a 1,000-yard guy as a number 2 dude. You think that means that I think that team wins 12, 13 games in the NFC East? Absolutely not. The Cowboys have to have so much go right, and there has to be a lot go wrong in Washington and in Philadelphia for that team to win 10 ball games. I never said that. Like I said, do I think they win north of 8 games? I don't know. East. East. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Agreed. Agreed. And? And? I'm like, okay. So what? They have the best passing offense. What do you care? You had the best passing offense against, and you played against the Bengals. Did it matter? No. You had the best passer in NFL history next to Brady, maybe, in the Super Bowl. Did it matter? No. What do you care? I mean, what do you care? Dallas got better. Washington's gotten better. Does that close the gap? The only way the gap is closed is because of the 11 people you've lost on your roster that was a Super Bowl championship football team. You lost 11 players. Was 12, but Goddard's back. You lost 11 guys. That mattered in your quest to win the Super Bowl. All 11 guys played an essential role in you winning the Super Bowl. And who have you added? Draft picks, free agents. All right. I don't know how much that moves the needle. We'll see, especially when JAKIB Campbell may not play this year. Who's the 11? Glad you asked. How's the 11 guys off your roster? Kenny Gainwell, Milton Williams, Oren Burks, Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and Avonte Maddox. All guys played a role in you winning the Super Bowl a year ago, correct? All 11 stepped on the field and were north of 230 snaps. Every one of those guys I mentioned. Shit, Fred was in a 4-game stint against Kayvon Thibodeau, Hendrickson in Cincinnati, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was against Michael Parsons too. These were 11 players you lost. And again, who did you add? Who have you added? Pickett, not so much. Not putting Pickett in there. Pickett really didn't get on the field when it mattered. He got on the field when the things were all wrapped up, and, I don't know. I don't think he brought anything to the team. I really don't. So that's why I didn't put Pickett on there. But I appreciate yeah. Okay. 11 guys. Hey, I think it shows you, again, how strong the unit was a year ago. Is that you overcame a shitty free agent signing. Didn't matter. You overcame it. Because that guy there is financial hell for Howie. I mean, you let a guy go for $1.5 million more in Josh Sweat, who was the defensive MVP in the Super Bowl, to keep, because you have that guy on your roster. And they don't want to spend a ton of money over there. Josh Sweat's still on the roster if Bryce Huff isn't. I think we all agree to that. No. That's not what I'm saying. If you want to go by the narrative that Eagle fans use, well, we didn't have to pass because we had Barkley. Let's just say that. That doesn't mean it's a shitty passing. It's just they don't. That's not what they want to do. Get this. And if that's by design, they don't want to do it because they got Barkley, what does that tell you about the quarterback? If they're telling you that we have a running back that we believe more in that can be higher effective in winning games for us than giving the quarterback, we'd rather have that than throw the ball. And we're going to stick with running what we do. And I think you should. Nowhere else in the league is that possible, except Philly. That's a great thing. That's what makes you a one-up. Quarterback doesn't have to win games every week. Every single team in the league, if Dak sucks, that team goes down. If Josh Allen sucks, that team goes down. If Jalen throws for 90 yards, that team's going to win. They proved it in the playoffs. It's a good thing. That's a good thing. Where you don't have to lean. Dude, here, let me give this to you in a positive light here so that you can understand what I'm saying. I don't believe Josh Allen in Buffalo can win 4 games in a row. I just don't believe it. Jalen doesn't have to. Yeah, 90. Well, here, let's take a look. What was the net yardage in the Ram game? 90? Or what was the first playoff game? Like Green Bay? One of those games was like 90 yards or something. Net yardage. But again, it's a good thing. A quarterback doesn't have. I don't believe Lamar Jackson can win 4 in a row. Hey, by the way, I think that's a merit badge. My quarterback could throw for 90 yards net, and we still win by 10. Let me have that team. That's a great situation to be in when I'm not counting on my guy to win. That's okay. That's a great thing to have. That's why Dallas is nowhere near you. Dude, you think of Dallas and Prescott throw for 90 yards with no running attack? Don't get beat by 40. Don't get beat by 40. Cowboys don't have, the Eagles don't have to do that. I know. Okay. QB is humble enough to sacrifice for the team to win. Tell some of these other diva quarterbacks to learn. These other quarterbacks don't have the organization and the great GM to build the team the right way. It's not a rip on Jalen. Just like when he went to Alabama. They know how to build a team. Jalen's been very good and very fortunate to be in winning situations. Let's face it. Alabama, with him or without him, are going to be a winning situation. Philadelphia is going to be a winning situation with him or without him. Because they were. He didn't change the narrative. Philadelphia's been winning for the last 15 years. Which team's got the best defensive tackles, according to you, because there was a lot of them who got drafted. What team? That's a great question. The Black Pope? Who has the best D tackles in the NFC East? Eagles. Yeah, the Eagles. Tandem? Yes. Philly. No, Carson won home field advantage for you. I don't think the Giants have the best D tackles. I do not. Lawrence, I said tackles, tandem, 2. Okay? Two guys. I'm sorry, but I don't see the needle moving that much with George Pickens as an offensive unit in Dallas. I'd see their passing game getting better, but to me, passing numbers are empty calories. Eagles proved it. So if a guy's a better passer than Jalen, great. Who cares? How did that move the needle? Is Dallas's passing game so effective that it's going to run the Philadelphia Eagles out of a stadium? How? You can't. Here's what Dallas is going to face with the current setup they have, with the talent they have on the team now. Say Dallas gets a 15, 18-point lead on the Eagles. How do you sustain that when you don't have a running attack? The only thing the Eagles have to do to Dallas right now is just be patient with them. If they did jump out to a lead, Eagles will catch them in the fourth. Well, that's a fact. Hey, agreed. Agreed. I never thought that the Pickens move moved the win total that much. Maybe a half a game. Maybe. Sills, they had a really good draft. Yeah, okay. Well, if I'm going to sit here and talk about the Eagle draft picks like that, I'm going to talk about the Cowboy guys the same way. And they got way more holes than the Eagles. Here, let me show you something else. I had a conversation with Coach Johnson last night about the value for the draft. Let me take this off here. How do you guys think he did in the draft? Here's the numbers. How do you guys think you did? How do you guys think the Eagles did in the draft? You got a guy at the first pick, might not play this year. A Z minus, okay? A minus, okay. B plus, I wish we kept our third and moved up again. Well, that was for John Dotson. B minus. All right, let's take a look at that. And I'm going just on the value chart. I have no idea, and nor do you, what these players are going to look like. So there's no negativity on skill set here. I'm talking value on what Bledsoe and what the Eagles and what the Bears, Lions, Steelers all use this chart and in the evaluation of ranking. I've showed you this before. It's the talent value chart when you draft. Okay? Nobody's throwing shade here. So here, Yahad Campbell. They had a ranking on him on 14. He was picked 31st. So the Eagles get a plus 17 on that. When you look at the value of what you picked up, that's a plus 17. Okay? Just in the value of the player, in where you selected him. That's a great pick. I mean, you get 17 points on that. Okay? Seals, do you really think Campbell doesn't fit in? No, I didn't say that. I said it's going to be finding a place for him to fit in. You can find a place for anybody, my friend. Okay? I never said that. Andrew Makuba was ranked 72nd by Bledsoe in the Philadelphia Eagles. The pick was 64. You lose 8 points there. This is a player here that many people had selected at around to go 72 on the talent board, that he'd go 72. You took him earlier. You kind of jumped the gun there a little bit because you had need at corner because of Ringo. Because, my opinion, I don't believe that Vic believes that Kelee Ringo's the guy. I like that. Thank you. That was from yesterday. Thank you very much, Jalen. So that's minus 8 points. Trey Robinson was ranked about like 110 on the talent value chart. The pick was 111. Okay? So you lose one there. It's all right. You lose a little bit, but that's right around the number. So you're good. You're not pissing on that. Munden. He was projected to be around 123. You got this player at 161. That's a 38-point improvement. So you basically got a player here with the 123rd pick, and you took him 161. This player was supposed to go in the third round. So you gained about 38 points there. So that's pretty good. And by the way, what I'm talking about is, did you draft these players to where their skill set will fit on the talent value board? This tells you a little bit, did you overdraft or underdraft? So far, Jahad Campbell, you got this guy on a premium pick at 31. He should have went 14th. Okay? The Makuba pick is a little bit of a reach. Not a lot. 72, 64. I can live with that. I think that's what Howie saw with that too. Because he uses the talent value chart. I don't think that's awful. Then when you start getting down in the lower picks like 5, 6, and 7, now you're taking more of a shot in the dark and you're throwing darts at this here. Again, I'm not ripping any pick. I'm talking about the value of the player on where he was evaluated and where you took him. So when we go back 3 years from now, was this player overdrafted or underdrafted? Like Milton Williams and Josh Sweat were underdrafted. They were value picks. Those guys were first and second rounders. Again, not a rip. The Kendall kid, Drew Kendall from BC, he was ranked about 200. You took him 168. Again, you're talking fifth rounders now. You're talking, what do you like with the skill set of the player? And because the Eagles hadn't really addressed the offensive line until day 3, they started looking at guys that Stoutland liked. And they started looking at a guy because, again, I think also that's a need pick. That tells me a little bit more where how he jumped on the need. He did it with Makuba, and he did it here at center because they don't want to pull over if Cam Jurgens ends up getting hurt. They don't want to bring Landon Dickerson down. They want to get a true center in there. Okay, so that's minus 32. So you overdrafted him a little. Again, that's today on May 7th. This guy may turn out to be Jason Kelce. Kyle McCord. This is a good pick. Check this out. This guy was evaluated to be a third-round draft choice, 131. You took him at 181. That's plus 50. That's why the Eagles took that player. And they're going to move Tanner McKee because this player has a higher value. And teams around the league see that, how he got a steal with the 131st, basically, guy that they had evaluated. All the teams across the league evaluate him at 131. How he got him at almost 190. You underdrafted. It's great. That's a great pick for a quarterback. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know if you understand. Here, maybe I'm speaking a little bit over some of your heads. You basically drafted. What round was Kyle McCord drafted? Was he drafted in the 5th? You basically drafted a 3rd-round quarterback in the 5th round. Would you take that deal? Well, how he jumped up and grabbed him. He was taken in the 5th. Okay, think of this. You drafted a 3rd-round quarterback in the 5th round. How do you pass on that? You can't. That's a great pick. 3rd round. Joe Montana was drafted, and so was Russell Wilson in the 3rd round. And if you try to move that player now, how we would expect a 3rd rounder back right now. Miles Hinton was projected around 229, 230, depending on what service you look at. You took him at 191. I think this was a Jeff Stoutland pick because it's minus 38 in the value chart. I think that Jeff Stoutland looked at this kid, looked at his heritage, his pop, where he played at Michigan and Stanford. I heard that comment that John McMullen said he thought about quitting. He thought about quit. Every player thinks that when you're transferring. I did. And I was the 56th player taken. If you don't have that thought one time or another in your head, it's a common thing to think that. Shit, there was a conversation that I had with my uncle that I was going to go play in the USFL in 85. Or I was going to go play in Canada for the Argonauts. Or I think Saskatchewan, one of those 2 teams. And I had a tryout. I mean, like I said, I showed a picture of my aunt with Trump. They were trying to recruit me for the New Jersey Generals when he owned a team. Yeah, but every player thinks that. So I'm not concerned with that. Especially when he played on a national championship offense that won a title. Again, this is Stoutland pick. You could see it here. Minus 38. Okay, when you're down in the 6th round, you're looking at a kid and you're throwing a dart. Okay? Yeah, Herschel was on that team. Doug Flutie was on that team. Ken Hall was on that. No, Ken Hall was in Philly. He was on the Stars. Okay? I did play in Canada. I did play in the CFL. Sills, you will say that the NFC East has improved. Will you say that the NFC East has improved? Yes. If the Eagles went out and finished a 14-3 record, what would you attribute that to? They're just better. And the gap wasn't closed enough. And the defense came through. And they matured quicker in the secondary and in the D-line. That's what I would say. If they go out 14-3. It would be drafting, coaching, and the players came through like they did a year ago. Your safety, your corner, your 2 defensive linemen, your rotating linebackers. And again, Campbell probably won't play this year. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see where that lands. What has Nick done to this team right now, in your opinion, Prince? What impact has he done right now in rebuilding the team and putting anything that he's done right now in this offseason? Name me one thing Nick has done. One thing. He didn't pick the players. He's not coaching on defense. What would he know? He got them focused? Okay. Sure. He got him focused. Yeah, all right. Yeah, okay. He got him focused. I'm sure he's in the ear of Jalen Carter every day. He had him focused. Yeah. Yeah. Did he have that 30th ranked passing game focused? Sure he did. Hey, Nick, do me a favor. Just stay in your sandbox. We'll be good now. Let's see here. The kid from Texas, that offensive tackle, he was ranked 92. You guys took him at 207. I mean, again, when you're 5, 6, and 7, you know, you're looking at a particular skill set of a guy. Again, no, not throwing any. I don't know. These guys have never had a practice game yet. These guys have never practiced in full gear. I don't know. No idea where they are. Battle Royale will be at 4:30. Okay? Yards per game is why they were 30th. Yeah. 30th ranked passing game. Okay? So, what do you care? You won a Super Bowl. What do you care if you're 30th or 32nd? So let me ask you this. That guy who just posted that. Do you really believe the Eagles are comfortable with that? You think they're cool with that? Scared of Tampa with Vita and Watson. Well, blitz hurts. Well, he's not very good at teams that blitz, and that's exactly what Todd Bowles does. Okay? See here. So, again, to go back to where we were, and as we said about the George Pickens, moving needle for me. Says, you think that made the Cowboys better? Yeah, that's me. But do you think that made them better as a team? No. No, I don't. Half a win? Who's running the ball? Who's in your old line? I mean, dude, Dallas got a long way to go before they're going to hang with Philly as a football team. Because let me tell you something. If Dallas, once again, how many people in here agree? There's not a chance in hell Dallas could slow down that running game. I don't believe that. You know what they're going to do? They're going to look right at that defense and do this, Philly. Well, you think I'm going to throw the ball? Why would I? I'm going to look at that guy right there and go, I'm going to run that ball right down your throat, guy. And you see that time on the clock? By the time you get the ball back, you'll be eating Cheetos in your car. Game's over. George Pickens. Yeah, it made him a better passing team. Great. Okay. One more time. How'd that work for Cincinnati? Cincinnati's got the best passing attack in football. Won 9 games. Great. Phenomenal. Wonderful. Hey. Tremendous. Isn't it true, Prince? Hey, Prince, isn't it true the NFL is weird? Guy can have more talent than a guy, but the guy could be a guy like Hurts and go, oh, well, I don't have to win 4 games in a row. That's a luxury of playing in Philly. If you're in Baltimore and Buffalo, you got to win 4 in a row. And I don't believe those guys can do it. I've never seen them do it. Hey, and I've never seen Hurts play 4 games in a row in the playoffs and win. And carry a team. But he don't have to. That's the beauty. And that's a good thing. I mean, I want him to be the best at everything. Well, he's the best at everything. That's the Met Gala and being the man of the week time guy and all that and shit like that. He's great at that now. I mean, Mr. Hands Off or whatever the shit it is. All right. Without further ado, hey, by the way, have you not checked out John McMullen lately? Xander Krauss does this. Hey, John, did we get better? No. And Xander starts laughing. And I'm sitting there going like, wait a minute. The guy sitting next to him. Everybody thinks they got better. And that kid, I'm like, wait a minute here. My fucking ears are on fire over here. Hell's going on down? I'll use a Lombardi line. What the hell's going on down there? Kidding me? All right. Without further ado, by the way, Battle Royale is back. That will be at 4:30 with Mark Holmes, who's finally got something to cheer about. I think it's a small needle mover. Okay, I really do. I don't think it's this play. I heard the guy that had on, oh, yeah, the Cowboys now playoff team. I'm like, playoff team? Who's blocking? Who's stopping the run? Lazy Smith? I'm like, what are you talking about here? All right. Without further ado. Oh, I got a great line for you guys before I bring Xander Krauss on. He's going to love this. So tomorrow, Clancy Bowden's going to be on with us from Morgan & Morgan. He's working on bringing Big Sills to Philly and me broadcasting from the Morgan & Morgan studios. They're in the offices at Morgan & Morgan, right there in downtown Philly, with old Ben Franklin looking over Sills' shoulder. How you doing? Holy shit, maybe Xander finally buy me a cheesesteak. All that being said, here he is from Birds 365, Big Z. Xander Krauss, how you doing?
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother?
What do you like that about, huh, man? What about
Clancy? The last cheesesteak I bought you is still rotting in my car.
How about Clancy, man? I asked him, I said, why don't you bring Big Sills in, man, and we'll do a show live from the Morgan & Morgan offices there in downtown Philly. And he goes, and I said, what about it? He goes, let's do it. So he's on tomorrow.
That's good stuff.
Hey, man, I'm excited about it. All right, Xander, let's get into it, man. Some news today. I love it too.
I love it, man.
I do too.
Great
man.
News today.
The Goddard move was what to you?
Necessary and too delayed, in my opinion.
Huh?
What are you waiting for? I mean, I get it. You know, you had to get to this point probably for the player to see and for the team to see that they weren't going to get what they wanted in the trade. So I understand that's a necessary part.
They waited them out.
It's this position was always very unlike the Eagles. Like every position, and Sills, you talk about the question marks on this team, and I don't disagree with you on a lot of them, but every position they get a contingency in place. They don't just let the guy walk out the door and say, "Oh, what are we going to do? Let's sign some one-year wonders in to bring him back." No, they draft way ahead of time. They drafted Landon Dickerson to be a center 6 years ago. I mean, in preparation. So they prepare for everything, and they did nothing for Dallas Goddard. So it was always the necessary move. I will say the surprise to me is far less on the Eagles front and far more on the Dallas Goddard front. Amen. I'm thinking this player's 30 years old, probably has one more chance at a 3-year deal where you get a lot of guaranteed money until you get on that 1-year deal carousel at the end of your career. And I thought he was going to hold out because – not hold out, but I thought he would want to kind of move on because I just thought he would go for that big deal. Now, maybe at this point in the offseason, that the time for those big deals has dried up. So, look, you get him back. It's a cheaper deal for the Eagles. It's a win-win for both sides. You got to remember, too, while Dallas Goddard is likely worth more than $10 million on the open market, he does miss a lot of games. Like, he played 10 games last year out of 17. You know, I saw somebody commenting like, "Hey, man, if I missed, almost half of my work year, I wouldn't get a pay raise or anything."
He misses 23% of his since he started, and Ertz has not been there. He's missed 23% of his starts.
So I do think there's a little bit of Goddard did take a pay cut, and I think that deserves some credit. But at the same time, I do think, hey, man, you're in a position to be on prime time 5-6 times a year. In a contract year where you can go out into the open market and make money, in an offense that, while I understand it doesn't suit you, it did allow you to thrive in many moments last year, especially the biggest games where you led the team in receiving in the postseason. So coming into this year, I think it's a good scenario for both sides, and I think it was the necessary end for both sides as well.
how I looked at it was from the player side, because the Eagles win this because of the leverage they had, because of the market. Now, I would say this, there was probably teams out there that were offering him $2 million, but he looked at the environment, $2 million more. And do I want to go play in Tennessee? Do I want to go play in the Jets?
What does that do? Yeah.
Where are you going? Where am I going there? So the agent and the player said this. What if they make the final? Let's just say they make the Final Four again. I have the same type of year. I play more games. I show how important I am in critical situations like the playoffs. I look at what George Kittle, he's not that player, but Kittle signed a $20 million a year deal. So I'm not quite 32. What if I get out there and I'm 31 and I sign myself $14.5 million 3-year? Remember what he's looking at, folks. He's not looking at annual money. He's looking at the signing bonus and the guarantees. That's what that bag of money that he misses out on this year. Remember, the Eagles had, here's what you got to remember with the Eagles. The Eagles had him with one more year, but they were not bringing him back at 14.5. They just were not. And if they were going to get a deal that they were thinking the player was part of the future, they would have Devontae Smithed him. They would have given him a 3-year contract.
Yeah, exactly.
And they would have given him money. They didn't want to give him the money even up front.
Well, you're right about You're right about this too, because the extension also would have allowed him to take the big dead cap hit they have coming and kick it a little bit further down the road. And they opted to give him the 1-year deal. So that dead cap hit is most likely going to still be there, which would show you that Sileo is right. Clearly they weren't going to go 14-5 and clearly they weren't going to go extension. They basically won the duel right now. They won the chess match. You know, who has more leverage? The Eagles waited and they won. So, and
that's
they get
right.
the player
They
at a good
waited
price.
him out.
I will say this, Sills. Is it the no holes offense?
Yeah, there's no excuses to have.
Are you bringing back 10 out of 11 offensive starters? This is the no holes freaking offense, Sileo.
To run the ball again. Well, there is holes in the passing game.
I knew you were going to say that. No, my point
was
just,
here.
I mean,
but here again, and I'm going to use your take. Okay, there's holes in the passing game, but because they don't want the quarterback to throw the ball, they're a running team.
Quarterback's going to have to throw the ball more this year. The quarterback's going to have to be a hybrid of what he was in 22 and what he was in 24. You're still going to have Saquon, and you're going to rely on that run because defense. That's what the NFL. That's what happens in the NFL. Sills.
Yeah, I don't think you're playing a team that could stop that running game.
Yeah, but you understand how the NFL changes. There's been no running back that you can just keep coming back and run. Now maybe you're right. Maybe this offensive line is so good and this running back is so good that teams can come in and stack the box and still not stop it. Maybe. But I did watch Spags do it in the Super Bowl. Now, to Jalen's credit, he said, I don't care. Take that away. I'm going to beat you through the air. And that's exactly what he did. But I'm assuming that happens more this upcoming year than it did last year. I'm not saying they're going to stop it every week. I agree with you. Maybe half the teams in the league won't be able to do anything about it, even if they think they can do something about it. But I do think there's going to be a bigger onus on stopping Saquon Barkley this year, which is going to give Jalen Hurts more chances to beat teams through the air and in the passing, which I think he will do. But I think the chance is going to be there for sure.
Here was my take. And again, I don't know why people got upset here. This George Pickens move, it helped the Cowboy passing game. And it is the best passing game because Dak's a better passer. But so what? The Eagles in 2024 won the Super Bowl, and it didn't matter.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't matter, folks. I mean, so what? They improved the passing game even more. Dak's a good thrower of the football. He's proven this. Still, you're saying he's a better? No, I'd still rather take the Eagle offense because nobody has stopped that. People have stopped passing attacks. Tom Brady threw for 500 fucking yards in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but the thing I'll say is, I mean, that seems to matter in the NFC, especially the NFC, even if you have a running game like the Eagles did. I mean, we didn't even use our double receivers last year, but look around. I mean, the Commanders, they got 2 wideouts. Now the Cowboys got 2 wideouts. The Eagles have 2 wideouts. The Lions have 3 freaking wideouts. Everybody, the Rams, 2 wideouts. Buccaneers, 2 wideouts. But everybody in the NFC right now
the Bucs
is
and
loading
the Rams
up on wideouts.
And the Lions have a running attack.
Well, they do. They do. And the Bucks did too last year, by the way, with Bucky
That's
Irving.
right. The Bucks.
Okay, you mentioned the Bucks.
The Bucks, the Rams, and the Lions.
Right.
The Lions had 2 players on pace for over 1,200 yards rushing. I mean, yeah, half that. Like, to me, like, I looked at the Cowboys and went, yeah, no, the passing game definitely improved for Dallas, but I don't know. Half a game? I don't know. I'll ask you, Xander, over under 8.5 for the Cowboys.
Wins?
Yeah.
Over. I think they're better
Who's
than
blocking?
Well, that's the biggest question. Is there 2 lines, right? Their offensive line and their defensive line. I think they have great skill position players and they have great secondary players on their defense. Now, it's the 2 lines is the big question there, and it's what can some of those guys do? But
wouldn't you agree that's the difference?
Off season's not over. I think there's a chance that they could. We'll see. I mean, look, I'm not a believer in that offensive line either, but boy, they got a lot of first-round talent up there. Tyler Guyton, now they got Tyler Booker. I mean, they're relying on those guys. And listen, if those guys aren't good, then yeah, you're right. They ain't blocking shit. If they're half decent, I think they have a good chance. I mean,
that guy,
I'm a Dak fan, not a Dak fan. I think Dak is better than most Eagles fans will admit. I don't think he sucks at all. I think he's a damn good quarterback. I think when he's on his game, he's one of the top 8-10 quarterbacks in the NFL. My problem with Dak is that he's a choke artist when it matters the most.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts is the inverse, where sometimes in the regular season, it doesn't look so great with Jalen. And then he gets to the big games and he's a dominant player. So I'd rather have Jalen all day. But I will say, getting a wideout specifically for the Cowboys, when we traded for A.J. Brown-Sills, he had 1,000 yards, and 869 yards.
Correct.
So you could have said there's a chance A.J. Brown's really good in Philly, but he wasn't a top 10 wide receiver in the league when we traded for him. He wasn't even close. So you look at George Pickens and you're like 800, 1150, and then 900 last year. And who were his quarterbacks? So similar problem with
Fields and a washed-up Russell Wilson.
Right. So I'm just giving you the perspective of Cowboy fans who could look at this and say, just because of George Pickens hasn't been incredible. I mean, I think he's a good player. There's a good chance he becomes a 1,400-yard receiver in Dallas's offense, which relies heavily on the pass. I don't think it's crazy to look at it like that. But I don't think they're good enough on the lines. And you brought it up. I think they're a good team. I think they're going to be better than the Commanders. I've said that for months now, and I think this trade solidifies that a little bit more. I don't think they're better.
Where are they better than Dallas? Where's Dallas better than Washington? Anywhere on that team?
Well, I think the quarterback is more established. And I mean, listen, the thing with Jaden Daniels right now is, as special of a player as he was, the second year linger matters. We have to see it on that player. Look at CJ Stroud. I mean, most players.
Stroud still got to the playoffs. Stroud still got to the playoffs in his second year.
Right, I agree. But it looked a little uglier.
I'm not saying that that's not true. But what the Washington Commanders did was they upgraded the team at almost every level. Now, you could debate whatever you think that improvement is. They added better players.
Yeah.
Levels on their – they did.
Who would you take the quarterback out for a second?
They didn't have a decent number 2 last year.
All right, take the quarterback out for a second. Whose offense would you rather have, the Cowboys or the Commanders?
Commanders by far.
Is that only because of the offensive line, though?
No, it's because of McLaurin.
So you think Terry McLaurin is better than
Debo? I think as a unit, just like this, Dander, the passing game.
You think Terry and Debo are better than CD and George?
No, the unit. The whole unit.
Okay, the whole unit.
You're at now better passing game. I'll take Dak. A better unit between those two. I will take the Commanders. Now, who's got the best offense in the NFC? Well, the Eagles do. Right, I don't think anybody is going to debate that. Who's got the best passing game? I think the Cowboys probably do. But again, what does that mean? That doesn't mean championships. I watched February 9th and I watched all last year that football team run the football and it didn't matter. What do you care? Well, who cares what that thing – again, when you're one-dimensional like that and you can't run the ball and you can't stop the run, that the Eagles are better than every team in the NFC with this combination. They're better up front in the D-line and they're better up front in the O-line.
And that's where we separate right now.
That's where it ends.
Yep, I agree. That's where we separate ourselves from the pack right now, is that our lines are built and built for success. Now, the defensive line does have some questions. I mean, who's a better defensive line, the New York Football Giants or the Philadelphia Eagles?
But let me ask you this.
That Giants team is the best D-line in the East.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Who do you think has the best tandem of defensive tackles in the NFC East?
Of defensive tackles?
Tandem.
Well, I think you could have made the argument for the Commanders, but now I think they downgraded with Kinlaw after Allen. They still have Deron Payne, so that's still a pretty good interior. You got the Eagles with Carter, Ajomo, and Davis.
No, I'm talking inside. I'm talking those two guys inside, Davis and Carter.
Davis and Carter. Who do the Cowboys have in the interior of the defensive line right now?
Lazy Smith and some other guy they signed to a 3-year contract, that Ujamaliani guy.
All right, well, the best interior D-line right now is the Giants. Maybe
Who's
not.
the other guy? Who's the other guy on the other side of Lawrence? You think they're better than Carter?
No, probably not. I just said that because of Lawrence.
Carter and Davis? I think Carter and Davis are the best.
No, they're not better. They got Lawrence, who's a beast, but you still got I still think the Eagles are the best.
Yeah, tandem.
Eagles.
Lawrence is better over Carter today, but that's going to change in 2 years also.
Right. Yeah, I think the Eagles are the best.
Yeah, okay, so look, up front, look at what you have in the O-line. You got the Eagles by far. Nobody's in the room in the NFC East in the O-line.
Yeah, I agree. The point I'm trying to make, Sileo, is less about that they're close to the Eagles, because I still think the Eagles are far and away the best team in the East.
They are.
But here's the thing I like about today. All right, this is what I like the most about today. The NFC East is going to be fun this year, okay? The Cowboys could be worse than we think or better than we think. The Commanders could be worse than we think or better than we think. The Philadelphia Eagles could be worse than we think or better than we think. And I think the Giants are coming up a little bit. I mean, you know, this guy says, what the F did Lawrence do last year? I mean, anybody that watches football knows that Dexter Lawrence is legitimately one of the best defensive linemen in football. I mean, you nose tackle, he's got 9 sacks, dude, in like however many games he played last year. He's an absolute animal. I mean, he's a beast. So I'm not going to entertain that one, but I think the whole NFC East is coming up, and I think that's a beautiful thing for competition. I love that, Sills. I like good football, man.
Yeah.
You know? I don't want to have 2 stink games on the schedule every year.
No, especially when you're in the NFC East, because that's a Tiffany division. Right. Every single team in that division's won a Super Bowl.
It's a win for football fans today. The Cowboys got a little better. The Commanders have gotten better, and the Eagles are still a beast.
See that Tyler Guyton guy, man? He looked like a turnstile at Lincoln Financial. He's just got to get better, dude. I don't see it, man. I mean, then you lose Zach Martin on top of that. You lost your center a year ago. You never really replaced him with that kid from K-State. I mean, look, I think this Pickens kid in the 2-hole, I think that's a good move for them on the other side. Now, CD's in the slot. Who you putting over at the other Y? You still got to deal with that. I think that tight end, Ferguson, is pretty good. But again, who's running the freaking football for you, dude?
Yeah, I know. It's bad.
I mean, you're just still a little.
The Commanders' run game doesn't really impress me either, though.
The run game is based on the quarterback too.
Right, that's true. But I mean, our run game was
700 yards rushing.
Our run game. I mean, to be fair, our run game is based on our quarterback, and then we got Saquon Barkley and took it to a new level. Like they don't have a guy even close. They have maybe a lesser than Miles Sanders. I think. I mean, they have Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. I mean. You know, Eckler was good a couple years ago. He's kind of fallen off. He's not much of an impact anymore. And Brian Robinson's a good player, but he's very limited in what he can do. So I don't think their run game is all that great. The Cowboys' run game is very underwhelming. I mean, who do they have? Javonte, who do they have?
I don't know. I know the Giants are getting a little bit better. Okay, that kid they had last year, I think they like him. I think he had $1,000 a year ago. But he's nobody special. I think, you know, when you look at, like you said, Austin Eckler, if healthy, he's older. He's an older player now. He has a ton of touchdowns in his career, and I've always liked that kid when he was with the Chargers. I think the NFC East did get better, man. I think, you know, still the top division in the NFC is still the North. North.
But we got some questions there too. I mean, what's going to happen with Detroit post those 2 coordinators? Now, I'm not saying they're going to stink. They have a great roster. They got a lot of talent. I like their head coach. I think Jared Goff fits in that system well. I'm not saying they're going to stink, but we got questions there.
Where would Dallas finish in that NFC North? Are they better than Chicago?
Yeah. Well, Chicago's got a good roster. I'll tell you what, Chicago's got a good roster. The Vikings are good, but they don't have a quarterback. They got a great
but they have
roster,
a good
though.
roster.
And then you got the Packers, who I don't really know the Packers. Did they do anything good this summer? I mean, they're on the brink of being a good team, but I feel like they're not making the moves they need to get over the hump.
You know, when I think of Green Bay, I say
real quick though, this is what I respect about what the Cowboys did today. Even if you don't like Pickens, right? The Packers are like in limbo, close, and they just won't make the jump. In 21, the Eagles finished and they said, let's make the jump. They brought in A.J. Brown. They made it. They took a stab at it, and they got elite. The Commanders last year, they have a quarterback who comes onto the scene, and they say, let's go get Debo. Let's go get Tunsil. Let's make moves and make the jump. The Cowboys say, we're going to try and get back. Dak's coming back. Give me a receiver. You know, you got to make the jump. So that's one thing I don't like about the Packers, but they're still a good team.
Help me out on this one. Help me out on this. Try to make me understand this DK Metcalf move now. So you get rid of Pickens, you don't have a quarterback, but Mason Rudolph and Will Howard. And now you're talking to me that you move Pickens and you sign and trade for DK Metcalf. How's that making sense to me? Your passing attack a year ago with Fields and with Wilson was underwhelming at best. Now you've downsized. And if Rodgers doesn't sign, and you made that trade for him, why? What's the point? Where are you going with that? You know, that's usually a very smart operation, the Steelers. But I'll tell you what, their post-Roethlisberger plan has been absolutely something to question, and it's put them in a lurch for the last 6 years since Roethlisberger's been out of the building, that they have not addressed that quarterback spot, dude. They just have not. I mean, Kenny Pickett's of the world and Justin Fields. I mean, you're talking about hand-me-downs.
No, you're right.
I mean, for an organization that I really have a lot of respect for.
They're kind of in mediocrity land, Sills. I'm a Tomlin guy with you, but Sills, let me ask you something. If Nick Sirianni didn't win a playoff game in 11 years, wait, let me ask you. What would be the topic on your show day in and day out?
He has to go.
I mean, you would, and again, I like Tomlin. I think he's a good football coach. But at what point do we look and say, it's probably time for a change of scenery?
Here's why they give him the latitude, though. And you're not wrong. You can't have a point where you've gone a decade without having a playoff win. It's a decade. Do you understand that? It's a decade.
That's a long time, dude.
You haven't won in Pittsburgh where you have 6 of them. The only reason he gets that latitude is because he is the guy that makes the hires. He's involved in player personnel. He has he's been part of their culture. There's only 3 coaches since 1969. Steelers don't like firing head coaches, bro. They just don't.
I know they don't. I don't think, by the way, I don't think it's his fault. I don't think that GM post Kevin Colbert has done a good job.
That's right.
I think Omar Khan is over his head. I mean, remember this about the Steelers too. That TJ Watt scenario is still hanging over their head. Have they addressed that? I don't believe they've addressed that.
Nope, they have not.
So they got a whole lot of questions. And by the way, I'll also predict Will Howard will be the quarterback there by week 5, unless they bring in Aaron Rodgers.
I really like him, man. I
think Will Howard's going to be a decent player. But I mean, they just got. Here's the thing, like. You trade Pickens. All right, you didn't want to pay him, or you think he's a head case or whatever, which, by the way, is a whole nother topic. Does he blow up that Cowboys line? Remember how much he used to bitch when he didn't get the ball, and he was the only receiver there. Now they got CeeDee Lamb.
Mike Tomlin
gets 150 targets a year, Sills.
How many times did Mike Tomlin have to corner him on a sideline and tell him to shut the hell up? I mean, dude.
And if Tomlin can't rein you in, man, you think Brian Schottenheimer can do it? I don't know about that one, Sills.
All right, how about this? Remember something when I say this to you here. I'm talking about the group. So, Kenny Gainwell, Fred Johnson, Goddard Spack, Milton Williams, Oren Burks, Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, Gardner Johnson, Avonte Maddox. Again, whatever you think of all these, what I'm saying is there's 11 players that had some impact when it came to a particular role that they had, whether it was a starter, filling in for 4 or 5 games like Fred did, What do you make of that with all those losses? That's 11 football players that you lost off of a football team that had experience, that had been in the building. Let's take a look at this for a second. Gainwell had been in the building, what, 5 years? 4 years? Fred had been in the building 3.
But still.
Well, let me finish.
All right.
Gainwell had been in the building 4 years. Fred, 3. Milton, 4. Burks, 1. Brandon, 15. Sweat, 7. Flay, 3. Rogers, 2. Gardner Johnson, 2. And Maddox, 4. These were all guys that had been in your roster for a while, man. And when they asked to play a role, those guys all figured and played a role. I mean, what I'm saying to you is, boy, you got a lot of first-year guys. Your first-round pick won't even play maybe until halfway into the season. You're leaning on your second pick to be an immediate starter at that safety position. You're not quite sure what you got at corner there. And you really have a lot of experience, 11 players that made some significant impact in some way or another, and the roster winning the Super Bowl. How do you feel about where you are right now? What area of the football team did you add where you think you're gotten better so far in the last 85 days? Since February.
I don't think if you frame the question like that, it's hard because the Eagles haven't had an additional offseason. They've had subtracting offseason because the contracts and because of how well they've drafted in recent years. But I'm going to push back on the premise. 30% of the rosters are turned over every year in the NFL on every
Not a Super Bowl roster.
Yes, Sills. 30% of any roster in the NFL has turnover.
Bucks brought 90% of the guys back the following season.
Okay, and how'd that work out?
You said about bringing back guys.
Okay, we're bringing back 10 out of 11 offensive
By the way,
starters. Wait. You spoke. Let me speak.
You can't compare your roster to the Jets.
We brought back 10 out of 11
We're
offensive
the Super Bowl
starters.
champs.
10 out of 11 offensive starters and 7 out of 11 defensive starters, including the top 4 players on defense.
Defensive starters? Wait a minute.
Offensive starters. 7 out of 11 defensive.
So you've only lost 3 starters on defense.
4. 7 out of 11. You lost 4 starters.
7 out of 11. Okay.
You lost CJ, Slay, Milton, and Sweat.
And those replacements that you believe are going to step in for that Super Bowl replacement.
I didn't say that.
I didn't finish the question yet. You believe that those guys are going to walk in and give you what when it comes to replacing those players who are on the number 1 ranked defense?
I don't think I'm not sitting here and telling everybody that they're going to be as good as they were last year. I'm telling you that the roster turnover is more natural than people think. That type of turnover I mean, you keep saying we lost half our defense. We did.
You can't clump a championship team into the same where you're looking at, hey, if the 49ers lose 35%, or if Arizona loses 35%, I get that.
How much roster turnover have the Chiefs had in the last 3 years?
You're talking about losing a Super Bowl roster. 11 guys off your roster, off your 53. What's the percentage of that? 11 guys that you've lost so far off your 53-man rosters. What percentage? What is that? 20%, 25% of your roster is gone? Off a Super Bowl team. That's different than saying the Jets lost 25%, isn't it? It's not the same.
I know, but the Rams did this a couple of years ago. They tried to bring back everybody. It didn't work. The Eagles did it in 2018 after we won a Super Bowl. In 2018, it didn't work. You got to analyze where. So are you suggesting that the moves that they made, would you have paid Slay 10, Milton 26, Josh 18, and Gardner Johnson the 10?
That's a different conference. I'm talking to you about what you have now on your roster in replacing that Super Bowl roster of 21% of your team gone. What do you have to replace that? I understand about the different conversation. Would you pay this guy? We've been over that ad nauseum. I'm talking about what you have right now, replacing that 21%. How do you feel about that?
I feel fine about it. I mean, I can't believe I'm ecstatic.
First round pick may not play this year.
I'm ecstatic that the offense is bringing back 10 out of 11 starters.
Okay.
I'm pumped that our 4 best players on defense are all coming back. Jalen Carter, Zach Bond, Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean are all back, including Nolan Smith, including Nakobe Dean and Reed Blankenship.
Now you're sounding like the Cowboy guys.
I'm not.
Yes,
I'm not. I'm being
was
real.
A unit win, not an individual.
You're talking about the 4 guys we lost on defense, like we lost Jalen
You didn't
Carter.
win that Super Bowl because you were the most talented. You won that Super Bowl because you were the most versatile and that you name me a player outside of Carter and Bond where you were top 5 anywhere in the league when it came to corner, edge, anywhere on defense.
Cooper DeJean was the best slot in the league last year.
Okay, Cooper DeJean was the best slot. Okay. So you got Cooper, you got 3 players on an 11-man defense. You won that thing because of the way that unit played last year, which was the best I've seen in a long time. And people think you've lost a lot of players on that side, in depth on that side. I'm with John McMullen in this. I think that is a rich reach to sit there and think. And I'm not saying you. I'm just saying anybody.
Don't go McMullen on me and say, I'm not saying you. You are saying me.
Okay. Keely Ringo's not giving you the same result. Not you. Keely Ringo's not giving you the same results as Darius Slay.
Oh, man. Keely Ringo. He's the one question I got. Mr. Keely Ringo. Sileo is seething that he's realizing right now this team is going to be freaking good again. This team is going to be good.
You know how you beat the Eagles? Keep that offense on the bench and you keep attacking. Let me tell you this. So what do you think teams are going to go after? You got Keely Ringo and you got Christian McCullum playing, or Makuba playing in the slot on that right side. You think they're going to go over there to that right side over there on that side of the football field and test them out? First-year player and a guy who had 100 reps last year.
Yeah, they're going to target it. Doesn't mean they're going to be successful. You're projecting they're going to fail. I'm projecting they're going to be better than you think.
I said where they're going.
Well, you're projecting they're going to be significantly worse. No, am I getting the wrong read from this point?
Well, yeah, you have lesser talent at that positions.
Well, yeah, but you have to understand. We're both projecting. I'm projecting optimistically. You're projecting pessimistically.
I know
yes, you are.
I know what Slade did the last 3 years, and I know what Gardner Johnson did 2 years in a row.
All right, if we had this conversation last year about Quinyon and Cooper.
That's not a projection. That's who those guys were. Those guys
if we had this combo
those guys have a resume of success.
Again, if we had this conversation. If we had this
let me speak. Name me one replacement.
And you can't
name me one replacement that you have going in that has a resume that is going to be something you feel comfortable with in all the replacements you're putting on defense.
If you have what? Give me one
player that you're filling a role with that has a resume. Milt Williams, Josh Sweat, Slay, Gardner Johnson, Orrin Burks, Isaiah Rodgers. Name me anybody who is going to fill those roles that you feel has a resume where you feel not projecting. I don't have to project on those guys. I know what they did. I've seen it.
Yeah, well, there is a lack of, whenever you have a rookie, and most of the team who's signings, I'm not really sold on those guys, but Adoree Jackson has a resume. He got paid 3 years, $39 million a couple of years ago. He hasn't had the best last couple of years, but at one point in the league, he was a decent corner, and I think he could be a guy that actually fits in the Fangio scheme in zone and as a more veteran cornerback. So that's one, but yeah, I mean, look, overall, you're right. You're relying on guys that haven't done it yet. But again, you're projecting they're going to stink.
I'm not projecting. I'm looking at their resumes.
All right, and if we looked at the resume of Cooper DeJean and Quinyon last year, what would we have said?
Cooper DeJean and those guys are back. I'm talking about the 20.
I'm talking about last year. If we had this conversation
about the players you have right now that you're going to put in there, I just want to hear who the resume like. Keely Ringo.
Jomo's got a decent resume as a 7th round pick.
He's okay.
I mean, 400 snaps last year. He had a really good pressure percentage.
I don't think he can play the run very well. I think he's a passer.
No, he doesn't. You're right.
Okay. I think you're going to have to use 2 players, Ty Robinson and Moro Ajomo, to replace Milton Williams.
Correct.
And that's going to be, and that to me will be a substitution issue too, that you're going to have more guys coming in out of different packages. Because this year you don't have the versatility you had this year where those guys could play 52, 43, 34, depending on whatever they went and scheme. They didn't have to come off the field. You're going to have a lot of guys that are going to have to be in a big time role for them to be able to fill those roles. Like John McMullen says. Now, John's got you at 28th in defense. I'm not that.
He doesn't have us at 28.
I don't have you that pessimistic.
28.
You know how you beat
Philly? Yeah, 28th. Are you kidding? We got Vic Fangio. This team's not going to be 28th.
What happened to Miami? How successful he was.
He didn't have a Jalen Carter. He didn't have a Cooper and a Quinion.
Okay. All right. I mean, yeah. No, I mean,
he had a bunch of dudes who were.
All he had was Xavier Howard.
He had a bunch of divas who were more concerned.
Jalen Ramsey, who's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and why did Jalen Ramsey not succeed with Vic?
Because he's a man. He's
right,
a man corner. He's not a zone corner.
Okay.
And they wanted to try to put zone down there in Miami, and that didn't work.
So Ramsey put his own personal desires first instead of buying into what the coach wanted him to do. Right. And that's why it didn't work.
Well, the hire was wrong because the team was built for man coverage.
I agree with that.
For zone. And what happened was, it's not that Vic stunk. He was the wrong hire because the personnel didn't fit. The personnel fits now in Philly. So let me ask you this here. One last thing here. So going forward here, you said that the football team was going to have to be a little bit more balanced. By the way, don't forget, Mark Holmes is going to join us. We'll read, if there's any supers, we'll read them.
I can't wait for that today, by the way. 500 and Holmes. Are you kidding me? Holmes has got to be out pumping his chest today after they got Pickens finally.
I'm telling you, I think it improved their pass game, but their win total, I don't know. I just,
listen, I've been consistent on this though. I think the Cowboys are going to be better than people think this year. I've been saying that. I will say this though about the Pickens move. My biggest concern with Pickens has nothing to do with the football field. He's going to help that team on the football field, but that dude is a certified head case. I mean, we talk about AJ Brown. He ain't close to what Pickens is. I mean, listen, there's good and there's bad to that. That's what makes Pickens a good player. But at the same time, CeeDee Lamb gets how many targets a year?
Wait a second.
He's not going to be happy.
How about this? What if that guy gets a goose egg in targets like Smitty has a couple times in his career? You think that's going to be an easy week in Big D?
Are you kidding me? You remember the sideline antics they had last year? Dak saying they sucked. Micah Parsons bitching on the sideline because he knew the cameras were on him, like a little show, like a showman that he is. God, I would like him in Philly because he's a great player. But man, Micah Parsons bothers me sometimes. Great player though, no doubt. But
all right,
yeah, they could have issues.
Do you think it's going to be 30-20 or running 30-20 this coming season again for the Eagles offense when it comes to 30 runs, 30 passes, 20 runs? Oh, wait.
Other way around.
30 runs, 20 passes.
I think that's probably close. I think 30. Is that how it wasn't it a little more than that? Don't you get like
22 last? It was like 22 last year.
What do you get? Average? What are you averaging? 50 plays a game, 60 plays a game for offense?
Well, you look at simple. You go over to what he did, and you look at what he threw, and you do it times 15. I think he missed 2 games, if I'm not mistaken.
I'd say the Eagles have a little bit of an increase in passing this year. I think if it's 20 last year, it'll be 23 to 25 this year.
He played. Did he play 50? He didn't play 17 because he missed the last 2, right? Because of concussion. Is that right?
Remember, you also had the first place schedule here. So Dank brings in,
but he also missed the first half of that Washington game too, right?
Who?
Hurts. Like he played like 10 plays. He played like 10 plays in the first quarter, right? Something like that.
Yeah, and then he got hurt. Yeah, he missed the rest of the game.
So Jalen averaged last year, the passing offense with him being the quarterback, averaged 23.
Yeah, I think
23 passing. So you think they up that thing, take the carries away a little bit, go from.
Well, I don't know if it would be like that. I mean, I don't think they're going to deliberately take the ball out of Saquon's hand. I don't think that would be the right characterization for it. But, I think Dank brings up a good point here where he says close games. So you have a first place schedule now and you won the Super Bowl, which means you got better opponents. You got the NFC North next year. You got the Bills. You got a lot of teams. So if you just assume because the talent of the teams that we're playing is better, we're going to be in a little bit closer games, which means obviously you throw the ball a little bit more in those moments. So with a combination of that, the combination of what I think defensive coordinators are going to do on Saquon Barkley, I think it comes up a smidge, but I don't think so much that you get away from what your identity is on offense, right? Like last year, we were a running team to the fullest extent you could go, basically, right? I mean, 2,900 passing yards and 2,500 rushing yards. We ran more than anybody in NFL history, for crying out loud. But I don't think it's going to be that far. I think it's going to come back a little bit into the gray area this year, and probably 30 to 25, maybe somewhere in that range.
I just got a little bit of breaking news for you.
No, what do you got?
Brian Baldinger is reporting that the Eagles and Justin Simmons are working on a contract, and they are working on a deal that would be conducive to him coming and playing in Philadelphia. What do you make of that?
I don't want him. What am I going to do with Justin Simmons?
Put him at safety.
His best football is behind him.
So you don't think a guy could roll in here? Again, you're not playing man. It's not like you're playing like man coverage here. I mean, don't you think you need
I'm not like out on the player, but like I'm not jumping to say, hey, go get Justin Simmons.
Now the money, if it's within reason, that's what I'm saying. Forrest Hill. Oh, look, this guy wants $10, $11 million. I'm not even in that room. That guy wants to play for $6 million.
Yeah.
A veteran like that at 6, putting him back there.
I saw this. Baldy basically said like he
texted me.
He wants to be in Philly. Baldy said he wants to be in Philly. Like get him a house in South Jersey. He wants to be in Philly. But I just like hear me out.
Vic loves the player. Vic loves.
I know, but again, I like Justin Simmons. Again, his best football is behind him. How much does it actually improve the things that you just talked to me about on the defense? Maybe your answer is a lot. And then what are you doing to the growth and the development of the players that you spent a 3rd-round draft pick on Sidney Brown, a 2nd-round draft pick on Makuba this year, and you obviously have Reed Blankenship as well. So obviously the corner battle as well. So is it worth? Like, is he that much better than what you're going to get out of either Makuba or Brown? If they think Makuba's not ready, then yeah, maybe it's worth it.
Kind of funny they're talking to Justin Simmons now after rookie camp. I think that
is true. You're right.
That timing's a little bit interesting that all of a sudden now, after rookie camp and after the draft, there's now a conversation about talking to a safety. Now, nobody's saying that Makuba's not going to be good down the line. But, I mean, you had a veteran guy in that position. 2 years you went to the Super Bowl, didn't you? Yeah. You think Vic's looking at it like that, where a veteran guy, remember Vic was the consultant in 22 and he was the DC last year. And what was this? And by the way, and like you said, Xander, I'm not saying this guy was the number 3 guy in the room when it came to significance of the defense, but he did have 12 turnovers in those 2 years he was there. Okay. I mean, and for the record, again, I'm not, as long as it's fiscally financial, where you're not going to get murdered on anything, I don't mind having a little veteran leadership. Like, who's the oldest guy on that defense right now? It's Bond, right? How many guys on that defense right now got more than 3 years experience?
Not many. Not many at all. Jordan Davis now has 3. Reed Blankenship probably has 3 or 4 now.
Reed.
Adoree Jackson does, but we don't even know if he's starting yet. That's really it. Ajomo's going into what, year 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear it ready though. I mean, Isaiah Simmons, but he was not good in the last couple of years. Not that good. Not like to the point where I'm like, go grab that 31-year-old safety to fix our defense.
Good, he's cheap. Well, I don't think. Wait. Well, if you're talking about not having a fix and you're talking about slugging a guy in there.
All right, $5 million. Come on in. You can teach the youngsters, battle for a spot, and if you win it out, great. $10 million.
No, I'm not interested in that at all. How old is he? 32?
31, but I don't know when his birthday is, so he might turn 32. Let me look.
Okay.
November, so he'll turn 32 in the middle of the year next year.
Before we get the offseason champion on, Mark Holmes and the Dallas Cowboys, I can't wait to hear this, man. And I'm going to give him my.
By the way, Mark, I know you're listening. I've been missing you, Mark. Other people like to clown on Mr. Holmes. I love Mark Holmes. I watch his channel. I get a total kick out of it. I think he's a great content creator. But you got better today, Mark. But is he a ticking time bomb in the locker room waiting to explode? He might be, Sills.
Hey, man. Hey, let's get to some of these supers before we get to this guy here, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Dallas will put up Madden passing numbers, but they've done that before and went nowhere. Adding a volatile wide receiver doesn't move the needle enough. I agree. They'll get better, though. I think they're going to be better. Elian says, food for thought. Is the way L'Jarius Sneed and Charvarius Ward, whatever his name is, left Kansas City the same bind that Q and Coop could be in come their payday? Yeah.
Yeah, dude. If I'm Cooper DeJean, you're going to keep me in a slot at $12 million. I want to go out there in the corner out there where I'm going to make 30.
Remember this too. They're going to come up in the same year, right after Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, and all these other guys got to get addressed. So I don't know. Let's go see what's going to happen there. But we got at least 3 years with them, so I'm not worried about that.
So before I get to Mark, before Philly 500, by the way, joins us, let me ask you something here. The Cowboys got better. How to Xander Krauss?
Well, they're more built for the modern game in the NFC East. I mean, look around the NFC East. I mean, every team has 2 good receivers. Every team is built with tons of offensive weapons. And the one thing you can say about the Cowboys is you can shit on Dak. You can do whatever you want. They haven't had a lot of weapons. I mean, they got rid of every weapon next to CeeDee Lamb in the last couple of years. This is the first time that they've added a player that is worth a damn. And now it's going to open things up for CeeDee, who I think is one of the best receivers in football. You got Pickens. The big question there is, can you block anybody? I don't know. They got 3 Tylers on the offensive line. Every one of them is a question mark. So I don't know. We'll see. Tyler Booker, Tyler Guy. Who's the other Tyler I'm missing? I know there's another Tyler out there, but that's the question on them.
Here,
I still think they're going to beat out the Commanders though for second in the NFC.
And they still may bring back Amari Cooper. Put him on the other side.
That would be a pretty good trio.
Okay, and the kid Ferguson is not bad. All right, Big Z.
And their second tight end's not bad either. Ferguson, I think, is the catch, and then they got another guy who's good in the blocking game. So they also don't have running backs though. So, but maybe they need that because they got to get targets to George Pickens, or else he's going to drop a bomb on the season.
Before I get Mark on, though, I'm gonna lay this out for him, and I'm gonna see before I bring him up if he likes this. Big Z, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Don't forget to catch him on Birds 365. So before I get Mark up here, and I'm so happy he's, accepted our invitation here. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Eagle fans, I'll say it again as I started the show. The Dallas Cowboys, with this Pickens move, in my opinion, have the best passing game in the NFC East. Okay? Because Dak's a better thrower of the football than Jalen Hurts. Jalen, again, I don't think that's breaking any kind of science here. But again, at the end of the day, the Dallas Cowboys, they can't run the ball. They've lost Zach Martin. Tyler Guyton was a turnstile last year. Tyler Booker, I like the kid, IMG. They end up signing. I know who the kid is. Went down to Florida, played at IMG. I got it. Went to Alabama. I know who the guy is. He's a good ball player. Kind of high in the pick. Then again, on the defensive side, can you stop the run? Now, again, bottom line is, just because you're the best passing attack doesn't make you the best offense. Until you can prove to me you can stop the Eagles' offense, you're still one-dimensional here. Dak is a better passer of the ball. Jalen Hurts will never in a billion years lead the NFL in passing. That's just not going to happen because that's not how they set it up. But is that good enough for the Eagles to win the East? Or, excuse me, for the Cowboys to win the East? Can't wait to get Philly 500 on. But let's do this because we haven't seen him in a bit. Let's bring him up here. Let's bring in Mark Holmes as he joins us now here. And what do you make of what I just said?
Make it about what? Something happened?
I just said that you have the best passing attack in the East, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have the best offense in the East.
Oh, I'm just happy that we can compete, man. I mean, I'm just sitting here listening to you and Xander going off and everything else on your team kind of losing a bunch of players and stuff. I'm going to say I'm happy and I am cautiously optimistic with the Cowboys and hope that the cake's not finished baking. We've
Okay.
made some really good moves, but they're going to have to keep their foot on the pedal.
Well, here,
How about
again, I want to give you this before I get Philly 500 up. Once again, just because I said you had a better passing attack doesn't mean you have a better offense in Philly. Because Philly has
Running the
proven
ball's key.
that their offensive line and their running attack can't be stopped. And
Yes.
whether you're saying, whether not you, but whether people are going, well, we didn't want him to play. Well, again, one thing is a fact. You don't have to have Jalen Hurts win you 4 games. This guy had net yards of 90 yards against the Packers.
Yeah, averaged about 21 passes a game.
Okay, 23, to be fair. But again, at the end of the day here, no one stopped at February 9th. You still got a lot of work to do in that run game, man, and in that offensive line. I'd rather have the Eagle offense, but the passing offense, Dallas got better, I think, with Pickens. Let's bring in Philly 500 and get his take here. I couldn't wait for this. Finally,
I'm sure you couldn't.
a champ. Oh, what? You're assuming that this is going to be an onslaught. It's not. I think you got better a little bit here today. I do. Go ahead, Philly. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you guys doing? Look, it's good to see Mark. Finally something to celebrate. Your team decided to actually try this season and to get in the game. It's welcome to the party.
Well, thank you. But this is a true story here, okay? So here it is. It's 6 a.m. I roll over and scratch my nuts and have to go take a piss. And because I'm an old dude, I grab my phone and I look in there, and at 5:45 in the morning, he's on the West Coast. He sends me a text message and says, it looks like the Cowboys are trying to go ahead and get Pickens. This is a good move. And I'm like, what the hell is this dude doing up at this time of the morning?
I'm watching conspiracy theory videos.
I'm like, seriously? I was like, well, thanks for letting me know, because it's been crazy ever since this morning, just watching this thing go through and hear everybody poo-poo on it. And Philly 500 and I have been texting back and forth. And I have to say, whether you think the guy's a cancer, in the locker room or whatever, this is a Howie Roseman type move. This is the kind of moves that have built the Philadelphia Eagles. If you had said to me that the Cowboys would get a legitimate, 1B wide receiver for $3.4 million, and it was only going to cost them a 3rd-round draft pick, I would have said, bullshit. We're paying more money for Brandon Cooks in dead money this year than we're going to pay him. And you now have over his head the contract to say, we ain't got to give you the contract till we see what you're going to do. And if it ends up being it doesn't work, he can leave and you're going to get a comp pick back. This is literally a no-risk type move. And I'm shocked that the Dallas Cowboys did it.
Well, think about this too, Mark, before I get to Philly 500. The Eagles, they threw out a 3rd-rounder on Jahan Dotson last year.
Yeah.
Player's better than Jahan Dotson. And for the role, Philly, they're throwing him in 2 spot, again, you got to remember that I still think they need a Y. That could be Amari Cooper coming back to the nest. But just give me your takeaway on what you think here, what this does for the Cowboys. Now, to Mark, you're not going to – I said your offensive passing game improved, but I'm going to say this to you.
I hear you on the running game.
I don't know if you're going to be any better than 8 wins right now yet. I got to wait and see on that one. What about you, Philly?
We will be.
I'm actually a little more positive. I think it was a little more impactful than 8 wins. I actually think this is a really, really, I hate to say it. There's part of me that hates to say it because it's the Cowboys, right? But there's another part of me that thinks I have a lot of thoughts going on. One, why would the Pittsburgh Steelers do that? You get DK Metcalf, you want 2 complimentary receivers, then you ship him off. Is he that bad of a cancer they just had to get rid of him? Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is I love the fact that Dak Prescott and Mark Holmes, this guy right here, he has to admit when Dak chokes in the playoffs, as he does always, There's no more excuses. No more excuses. Okay? No more. So I'm very happy about that. But in terms of how it benefits Dallas, it's a good move. I think Pickens, from a talent perspective, is a good wide receiver. Now, do I think they surpassed the Eagles? No, I don't think they're as good as the Eagles. But I do think they jumped I think they jumped Washington. I like the Pickens move more than I like the Deebo Samuel move by Washington. I think Dallas became a team that you have to talk about as far as contenders of people in the running, where I didn't think they were, because there was no threats. Now they messed up one big thing, giant thing. Tyler Warren. You could have Tyler Warren and then added this kid Pickens. Now that would have been scary offense. Phils, could you imagine that?
Yeah, no, I mean,
geez, what were they thinking?
I got it. Now, let me ask you something here. And again, if you look at the Goddard deal, they signed Goddard to a 1-year deal where they told him to take a pay cut at $4.5 million. So obviously, it's for the player to go out.
He wanted to do it though, right? Like he.
Well,
I
think
to be part of it.
If they wanted him to be a long-term thing, they would have given him a Devontae Smith 3-year extension out of team-friendly deal. This is more at the thinking as a player. I do this. Why would I want to go to Carolina for $3 more million or the Jets? Why would I want to do that, lose market value, when I could sit on a football team right now? It's going to be maybe a top 4 team. Go out and get, like, right now we just saw George Kittle sign a $20 million. And I'm not saying he is George Kittle, but you could sign a $15 million deal. Remember, the Eagles didn't even offer him a signing bonus. They didn't offer him a contract. They offered him a pay cut to come back. They were never bringing him back at 14 and a half.
But he had to want to take less. So I just want to give him some credit for saying, hey, I wanted to be here. He could have gone somewhere else, maybe where they don't have, 50% taxes on, So I want to give him some credit.
He did that because he's auditioning for teams around the league, because
I have no problem with that. I have no problem.
And again, I mean, the Eagles were never bringing him back.
No, but it would have been a big loss. Okay, we all been talking about this for months. How many months we've been talking? You're going to lose him for what? What are you going to do? There was nobody could replace him. So to me, I think it's having him back one more year is a big deal. It's a big deal for me.
Mark, do you think the Cowboys have gotten better this offseason?
Oh, without a doubt. To point out to Xander, who was actually talking about this beforehand, you look at the Cowboys offense where we've only been a one-trick pony. And it wasn't just last year. It's been basically Amari Cooper. When you think about 2 years ago when Dak Prescott was runner-up MVP and you had 1,700 yards by CeeDee Lamb, and that Brandon Cooks is the next level down at 650, and our running game was Zeke Elliott, who was not Zeke of any elk. He was still Zeke, but 3.7 yards a carry. And you had Tony Pollard, who was playing well. It was all CeeDee Lamb. Now you have 2 legitimate targets out there that's going to help spread the field. And I'll disagree about trying to get Amari Cooper. If you look at the statistics, actually, Jalen Tolbert's numbers were much better than what you got from Amari Cooper. And much like Cedric Wilson, who benefited from CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper and had his 650-yard season and really hasn't been heard from since, you're going to have to worry about Pickens. You're going to have to worry about CD. This guy, you can't cover everybody. I see you shaking, but I'm not saying we are. I'm not saying we're the Eagles, but right now you're looking in the rearview mirror, and the Cowboys are getting a little closer.
I'm not disagreeing with that they improved their team. I think that they did, but we've been down this road with Dallas before. We've been down this road. To me, it doesn't matter what they do in the regular season. I don't care if Dak throws 50 touchdowns. What does he do in the playoffs? That's the question.
Okay,
you said something in your video, but you said something in your video today. You said that you remember when the Dallas Cowboys had weapons and Dak threw for 37 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And Amari Cooper was good. And you had CeeDee Lamb was a rookie. And he was a runner-up for MVP. And then he goes right to the playoffs
And guess
and
what?
he
We
stinks
ran
it
out
up.
of steam, bro. We ended up having
your
a
quarterback
time.
choked.
No, hold on. Here's the difference between what you have now potentially, because there's no guarantees. You could end up being the San Francisco 49ers this year. That's a reality that can happen. The Cowboys could end up being like Dan Sileo believes here and not an 8-win team, or they might just be able to turn around. Nobody really knows. You can only go by what you look at and see on paper. The difference of this Dallas Cowboys team is typically we don't have depth. You end up losing a Tyron Smith, and you end up dropping so far down the line that you just can't compete. You get a Tony Pollard that's got a plantar fasciitis. You get a Zeke Elliott who's got a hyperextended knee or a PCL injury that when you get into the playoffs, you're limping around.
Everybody's limping into playoffs.
Well,
Everybody.
but the difference is if you have depth and a guy
That's
that can
right.
step in, it
The
ends
Eagles
up
had
being
depth.
somebody to go through it. And
That's
your
right.
team always has depth.
That's right. The Eagles had depth. Let me ask
the quarterback came up small. We got to be honest.
Okay.
The quarterback came up
Let's
small
ask you
in big moments.
Let's ask you now, Camp, this question here. Now, again, I want you to think, and Mark, I want him to think of the group. You had a 53-man roster that went on an iconic run to win a Super Bowl, correct? Every single player that I'm going to name, 11 players off that 53-man roster, 21% of a world championship football team has been exited off that team so far. You got Gainwell. You had Fred Johnson, who played 4 games in a row where he filled in for Mulata and he blocked Trey Henderson.
Gainwell, not Gainwell. Oh, my God.
Hold on. It's the group. Wait, who do you think? Wait, do you think that kid Dillon's going to be healthy to play?
I think one pinky.
Hold on, let me finish.
A.J. Dillon is better than Gainwell.
Okay, wait. Gainwell, Johnson, Milton Williams, Oren Burks, who started all the playoff games. You really didn't need Nakobe Dean. Brandon Graham's gone. Josh Sweat's gone. Slay's gone. Isaiah Rodgers is gone. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who had really 12 turnovers in the 2 years he was there. And you had Avonte Maddox. Now, whatever you want to think about this, it's 11 players that had some instrument in you winning the Super Bowl. Where in the offseason so far do you believe you've gotten better? And let's put this out there. The first pick in the draft may not play this year.
What do you mean may not play this year? Where did that come from?
From
he may not play this year?
From the general manager.
I never heard anything about him. I heard
from
he might
the
not
general
be ready for
manager.
Not play. I haven't heard anything about him not
from
playing.
The general manager.
He said he's not going to play this year?
Okay. No, I said may not. Okay. When do you project him to play then?
I think he'll play at some point. I think he'll start rotating in. I mean, you look at
when?
Look at Cooper DeJean. Well, Cooper DeJean played. We didn't see Cooper DeJean till
Cooper
the final
DeJean
preseason
played
game.
in the Ravens preseason.
No,
game.
he did not.
Yes,
I'll
he
bet
did.
you $1,000. I'll bet you $100.
I know he did. I know
he did not play in the Ravens game. He played in the Minnesota game. I'll bet you.
I just looked it up.
I didn't play in the Minnesota game.
Did Cooper DeJean?
He played in the Ravens regular season game, not the playoff, not preseason.
I said the preseason game. I said he played in the preseason. I said in the preseason. He played in the preseason game. I didn't say in the regular.
He played the last preseason game versus the Vikings. He missed all of training camp.
Let's see. Did Cooper DeJean play in the Ravens preseason game? Let's see here. Because I could have swore Ravens preseason game here. Let's see. It says, yes, he played in the Eagles preseason game against the Ravens. He made his preseason debut recovering from a hamstring injury. So he did play in the Ravens.
Who is that? Who is that? Grok, Siri, whoever they need to be. Their AI needs to be updated.
Okay.
I'm telling you, they didn't. Okay.
He played in a preseason, right?
He played in Minnesota. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then he didn't play really till week 4, right? A week after the bye week, he started.
Okay. All right. Again, like I said, I Googled it, so I guess Google's wrong here.
So my point is that he came on, 4 or 5 weeks in the season. I don't see why Jahad Campbell can't do that.
Okay. All right. So let me see here. You may be right here. Ran out of the first time Saturday as the Eagles kicked off their third and final preseason game against the Vikings. Yeah, Google's wrong. I just went to the Eagle website.
I'm
so
smarter
you're right.
than Google.
Okay, so again,
Okay. Way to go,
he
Dave.
may, like I said, though, my question is, if you don't see him throughout the entire preseason, or you don't have him in OTAs, or you don't have him in any of that, you're suggesting he's going to play week 5?
I'm sorry, when he's ready. Yeah, something like that. I mean, I expect him to play at some point.
Okay. Where did you get better, in your opinion, you think, this offseason?
Where did we get better?
Yeah.
I actually think that I like what they did draft-wise. So I like what they did in terms of the linebacker. I think you also, I guess you could argue that the depth is a little bit better, I think, overall in the offensive line too. But as far as impact starting guys, no, we lost guys. We got a lot of young guys.
Okay, so they didn't get better. Now, again, that doesn't necessarily mean 500 champ, that the rest of the division is close,
right,
to you. Okay, so
right.
Well, let me ask you now, Mark. How much do you believe that you've closed the gap to the champs?
Oh, we still have a ways to go. I'm not pretending that we have closed the gap, but things that'll work to our advantage is, one, you guys played until the middle of February, so you have a shorter off season time to recover, whereas my Cowboys had a whole nother month to get themselves healthy. You've got now that first place schedule where everybody's coming for you, and the whole division is going to be black and blue. The thing that the Cowboys did this year, which I'm still amazed, because this does not feel like the Dallas Cowboys. And I know when they did the Brian Schottenheimer press conference, they had changed Stephen Jones's title from being assistant president of operations and all that, to co-owner. And I believe that Stephen Jones is actually doing more of the GM.
This is the last year, Jerry. At the end of this regular season, Jerry's no longer going to be head of operations. Yes,
exactly.
Correct.
And instead of the Cowboys, where they usually go through and get a Brandon Cooks or a Don Terry Poe or a Gerald McCoy, they've gone through and they've got younger people that basically are trying to get that next contract. And so when you start thinking about somebody like Solomon Thomas or Kyer Elam and guys, Kenneth Murray, that are looking to get that big payday, the onus is on those guys to perform. And even if you decide, well, he played really good, we let him go, we'll get a comp pick instead. You now have a very, very young team. This roster has turned over completely. You take Zach Martin, you've got a guy who's going to have a learning curve in Booker, who doesn't seem to be scared of Jalen Carter. You've got a D-Law that's gone, and you end up bringing in a Donovan Easy, who had 16.5 sacks his last year in college, along with 21 tackles for loss and 60-plus pressures. So the Cowboys have gotten a lot younger and hopefully are getting a group of guys together that maybe it's not this year, but maybe it's the next year or the year after. The thing with Pickens, I'm so happy that they went out and they got a young guy. You've got guys that are leaders in that locker room that hopefully will be able to bring him in, and maybe he'll be happier about having an organization that looks like at least we know who our quarterback's going to be. Pittsburgh has been a mess since Big Ben has left. And other point with Pittsburgh, I think you're looking at it the wrong way. I think Pittsburgh has finally realized that Aaron Rodgers is not going to make us that much better. And we don't have a freaking quarterback. And having the draft in Pittsburgh next year, they've got 10 picks right now. They may be looking at, we're blowing this thing up. And it would not surprise me with TJ Watt wanting to get paid that he becomes available out there.
Wouldn't that be an answer for the Eagles?
That would be. Can you see the mad dash? Well, he wants a lot of money, but see, if you're Pittsburgh, you got to get a quarterback. If you get a couple of firsts for him, and you've got the draft in town next year, for your fans, it would be freaking insane.
See, and this is why I look at a guy like Darius Slay, who I like Darius Slay, but he's going to play one more year. He's won a Super Bowl. How hungry is he? He went to Pittsburgh where they're not trying to win. So, to me, I look at a guy like that leaving like, okay, I appreciate what you did, but I want guys that are hungry. That
did give him $10 million though. They did give him.
But what's he going to do? I mean, he's not going to win. He knows he's not winning.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where I feel good about my team is you've got a bunch of guys that were at least projected to be better than what they are, that now they're coming here in the spotlight of Dallas on a prove-it season. And you do have some nice pieces that were already there. But Micah, for the first time, has somebody who can be his Robin over there. For the first time since, the last 3 years, you've got a legitimate threat for CeeDee Lamb. That's going to open up things tremendously.
Let me ask you this then, Mark, and I'm going to, again, I can't wait to see Philly's response.
Uh-oh.
Okay, how about this one here? Who has in the NFC East? Who has, and I'm not going to put the Giants in because I don't know who their signal caller is. Who has the best trio, quarterback wideouts? Dak Prescott, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, or Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith? Who do you believe has the best passing attack in the NFC East?
Cowboys. Cowboys with Pickens added to it? No, because Dak, listen, no disrespect to the Eagles and winning the Super Bowl, but you did not win the Super Bowl because of Hurts's arms. And because of Saquon being the threat that he is, he only had to throw 21 passes a game.
Well,
Sorry.
wait, no. And see, the question
or 23.
See, the question was asked to me too. I still think the Eagles have the best offense, but I mean, look, like I said about Jalen, they didn't have him, and nor do they want him. The big comment that Philly gives me and all Eagle fans, well, they didn't ask him.
They didn't need it.
Okay, right. So how could you be when your quarterback's 20th in passing offense and he's 18 touchdowns? And I mean, he has a 90 net against the Packers. That guy doesn't have to win 4 games in a row throwing the ball. Wait a minute, right? I'm not debating it. The question was, who has the best passing attack?
The Eagles.
Okay,
the Eagles
let's back up. Let me teach you something here, Philly. Let me teach you something.
Nobody said they don't have the best offense.
Dan Sileo, Miami U, outstanding player, former Dallas Cowboy, CFL player. The game plan that Kansas City came out with was, we are not going to let Saquon beat us. They literally said Jalen Hurts has to beat us. And they made sure that Saquon could not run.
And he did.
And because they did that, it opened up everything else.
Okay.
Well, having that threat,
he doesn't have to do that.
And having the receivers that you had to.
Mark, he doesn't have to do that every week because they've got Barkley. And by the way, it's not a rip. It's not a rip.
I'm fine. But what did they think 2 years ago when they played Kansas City in Super Bowl? They said, we're going to do everything to stop Miles Sanders. No. And what did Jalen Hurts do? And what did Jalen Hurts? No. Jalen Hurts arguably was the best player.
Are you suggesting that you really believe that Jalen Hurts is a better passer in the pocket?
I believe the Eagles are a better passing team if they need to be than Dallas. Yes. Do they need to be every week? No. But when it matters, and listen, you see, he's laughing and he's laughing, thinks it's funny, it's a joke, but his guy can't win a playoff game. My guy wins playoff games. My guy wins playoff games. My guy makes the throw. My guy, he delivers the dagger to Devontae Smith in the biggest game. If you can't throw and you can't make the plays on the biggest field, but it matters because if the game is a playoff game and you're throwing the ball well, to me, that matters so much more than if you throw 30 touchdown passes. So what I'm saying to you is, how can Dallas have a better passing attack
because their quarterback can't?
But their quarterback can't do it.
Wait a second.
When it matters the most.
Rodgers is a better passer than Tom Brady.
But
he's a better thrower of the.
But he's also won.
That doesn't mean that he doesn't win as much. That's not what the question was. Who has the better?
It's connected. It matters. No. It matters. Yes, it does.
Matters. No, listen, the question.
I don't care what a guy throws preseason.
Okay. The question I got asked today was, what does George Pickens do for the Cowboys? And I said, well, it improves the passing attack. They probably have the best passing offense in the East. However, that doesn't mean they're the best offense in the East. I would take
but it opens up so much more there, bro.
I would take the Eagle offense because no one can stop the run game on a week-to-week basis.
I will agree with that. I will agree with that.
But wait a minute. The guy in Cincinnati has the best passing offense. That thing won 9 games. So what?
You can't hold Saquon Barkley and the threat of the run game against the Eagles wide receivers and Jalen Hurts. You can't do that because if they go out there and he's a threat and it opens up the passing game for Jalen Hurts, how does that not?
He threw the ball 300 times.
He didn't have to throw it any more than that.
That's why the point is
you can't. What do you mean he's not a better passer? He played on the biggest level. He won a Super Bowl. He was the MVP.
He will never, ever in his career throw for $4 grand.
Wait a second. You guys are saying that you got to discount the fact that he's got a running game.
No.
Well, what are we talking about?
You're the best team there, Philly. You're the best team. It doesn't mean you're the best at everything.
No, if Saquon Barkley is opening up the passing game,
they said, what
for the Eagles, that helps the Eagles.
What does George Pickens' addition mean to the Cowboys' offense? I said they improved their passing attack, and I laid it out. That's a better. That
does Saquon Barkley?
He's a better thrower. He'll never be the player
Barkley
that is from the
Eagles passing game.
It doesn't matter though. Oh
my
God!
Why does it matter?
If you have that guy throw the ball, get this. Hey, Mark, if you have that guy, Jalen Hurts throw the ball 600 times, he'll have 20 turnovers.
At least.
I don't know that. I don't know.
Well, they did in 2023. They had him throw the ball more. He had 15.
How many did he have last year?
Because he threw the ball 350 times.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If
the question was asked,
the question is Dallas does not. That's my answer. There's no way Dallas is a better passing game than the Eagles.
You were 30th in passing last year because you wanted to be.
I don't care.
We didn't need
you didn't need it.
Yeah, that's right. Just like, remember when, you guys you can't throw. When did we go in and play Pittsburgh?
This is a theory of yours that it's better.
No, it's better because they won. They did it in the biggest stage, on the biggest level. You can't discard the games and when they mean more than when they don't. Do I care that Dak Prescott throws 200 yards in preseason?
You're adding to the question. I asked you, who has the best passing attack in the NFC East? And you're trying to tell me the Eagles are. You didn't win last year. Right. You didn't win the Super Bowl throwing the ball last year.
What do you mean? How did Jalen Hurts win the Super Bowl?
He won 2 ball games throwing the ball.
What did he do in the Super Bowl?
You were 30th in passing.
Who was the MVP?
How did you? Saquon Barkley was the MVP of that
Come
team.
on. No, of that Super Bowl on the biggest stage on the Super Bowl, that specific game.
That guy will never in a million years.
How many yards?
Dude,
you guys give way too much credit to that.
Let me ask you this then. If A.J. Brown doesn't win the Super Bowl and they run the football 36 times again and he finishes 45th in targets again, how do you think that's going to roll?
No, I don't know.
I asked you an opinion. It's an opinion. I asked you what you think.
I'm sure he would want his targets, but I'm sure I'd like to think that he'd be very happy winning. So that would trump all. I would hope.
You would. Are you hoping that, or do you believe that?
Yeah, I'm hoping. I don't know.
So he pitched last year, and get this: you had a guy in the sideline reading War and Peace while the team was winning a ball game, and all of a sudden
dude's been doing that for his whole career.
Okay.
We have to pick it up on camera. Nobody cared about that.
Can I interject?
Please.
So that's saying that Jim McMahon was a great passer with that 85 Bears.
No, the question was who has a better passing game? The
I
Eagles or the
understand that.
Cowboys?
I'm
I'm saying
equating
Eagles.
this since the Bears lost one game that year
I
and
think it's
kicked
a different
everybody's
era.
teeth in, that Jim
Different
McMahon
era.
was the best passing game in football then, right?
Different era. Different era.
Oh, okay. And
Well,
they
different
say
era.
I'm delusional.
They only
Okay.
threw
Well,
what?
then
20
let me
times a
use
game.
let me use your theory then. Who has a better passing attack, the Bengals or the Eagles?
The Bengals.
Okay.
Passing, pure passing?
Yeah.
Maybe if we're talking regular season, Bengals, but in when it matters, the Eagles. Now I give Burrow credit because he's been to a Super Bowl. I think that's important to actually do it when it matters the most. And that's my point.
I love this. This is
You can't. I don't care what. I don't care what you do in the regular
500.
season. I care what you do in the playoffs.
finally there's something to talk about with the Cowboys.
Thank God.
Finally,
Thank
they're
God.
relevant again. A little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
Do you give them that much? 500?
No, I think they made a good move. I think that they're better than they were a day ago. I think they're going to compete for second place with Washington.
Okay.
I don't think they caught the Eagles. Not close.
Okay, so so you're not sure if the Eagles got better this offseason.
Well, I think that you lost a lot of guys, and there's a lot of guys that I'm very hopeful that I have a lot of excitement about. But we got to go see what they could do. But I do think that it may take some time. It may take a step back. But I think to take a step back and then take 3 steps forward is what's going to happen. I think that there's still nobody better.
And listen, well, let me ask you one last question, 500. Is 2025 Nakobe Dean's final season?
Yeah.
I'm gonna. I until I see how they use Jahad Campbell, I'm gonna say yeah. I think it could be.
Okay,
I think Campbell's going to.
Where are you going to play Jahad Campbell? That's my point. Where are you lining? If you were to line up right now, where are you playing him?
Probably where Nakobe plays.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe a little bit on edge rusher. They want to see what he does over there, but he's kind of got to show that he can do it consistently at the next level. So I think the most likely scenario is Nakobe Dean's spot, and I don't think Dean's going to be ready early. So. If this kid can play early on, I think he'll play.
Okay. Now last one here on you. Michael Parsons. Where are we going here? I mean, what's the latest on this?
It's funny. It's so funny that everybody's so worried about Micah Parsons, like he's going to get traded and all that. That's the Cowboys' way. They're milking this thing right now. You think that they were going to move his locker over with Dak, that he's going to show up for OTAs, something he has not done the last 2 seasons. The last 2 seasons, he was not there for voluntary works. They're going to get that thing done. It's pretty much already there. It's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're going to play this thing out. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and take care of business. But here's the thing I'm going to say is, you Eagle fans are a little bit more worried today than you were yesterday, because y'all are looking in the rearview mirror and you're sitting here looking at yourselves coming up behind you. You see the Cowboys, they end up bringing back guys like Dante Fowler on cheap deals. They have improved. They have actually drafted a team trying to compete with you guys. I'm not going to say that we're there yet, but the Cowboys are sitting potentially right now on about $46 million still of cap space. And I can guarantee you that Jerry Jones, with this, as Dan Sileo pointed out, that this is his last hurrah of him being the GM, president of operations, whatever you want to call it. He's going all in to try and get that ass. Pause.
All right. You don't worry about the Cowboys, right, champ?
There's no reason to worry about the Cowboys right now.
Give me your 3 teams you worry about in the NFC.
I don't worry about anybody, but if I had to say the worst, the toughest 3 teams in the conference, I would go Eagles 1. I would say Eagles, Rams, Lions. Then I have Washington and Dallas statistical tie. I think they're about even. And that's where I would probably have the NFC ranked.
Chicago, Green Bay, anywhere in there?
Chicago's got to prove something to me. Same with Green Bay. But
What about Washington?
They could be. I think Washington's like 4. I think Dallas and Washington are around 4.
So
I
we're
like
moving up in the
Daniels, but
hierarchy here.
I thought you moved up. Yeah, I do. I
Okay,
think you.
all right.
I think you moved
So
up.
we're going in the right direction.
You are.
Okay.
You are until you play us week 1, hopefully.
Mark?
FYI, people are convincing me to go to that Eagles game in Philadelphia. Dan, we know you're not leaving your house. We know that. I'm not even going to try that.
Actually, I've been invited by Morgan & Morgan to go to Philadelphia and be part of broadcasting this off season and coming up this football season with Clancy Boland, the crime fighter for Morgan & Morgan there. So I may be broadcasting live from the facilities there.
Okay.
So that looks like that may end up happening, actually.
And I would say Philly 500. Can we play? Can we go there for that game? Cowboys,
Maybe.
Eagles.
You got to knock me out to get me on a plane right now because I'm scared to fly. You see all these plane crashes every week, every day. Got these planes going down and wheels falling
have
off.
An excuse.
I'll drive cross country.
I came to the West Coast to see both of you guys, and y'all were no shows.
Actually, the Dallas Cowboys jobbed you for $450 to get a press credential to sit your fat ass in there, and then you went and I went. No, it's not happening. So let's be candid there on what really went down there.
Okay.
Fair. Hey, man, believe me, that's the first time I've ever seen that, too. What I'm talking about is usually you just show up, Philly, and you can show up to training camp. Now the NFL teams, including the Cowboys, are charging for press access now to go to these training camps, especially what is that, Oxnard?
Yeah.
That you guys are in? Yeah, I mean, shit, man, it's like $350 to go and get that press credential now. Before it was free.
I tell you what, Big Sills, I'll flip the bill for it.
Oh God.
Okay. If that's the only reason why you won't show.
All right. Listen, you pay for that. I'll show up this year at training camp. I will.
Oh boy. Yeah.
You got to come down and meet us then, Philly.
Yeah, I might do that.
All right.
You won't do it. Neither of you mother humpers are going to show up. Okay.
No, I just gave you because I gotta get out of my cave here a little bit because I've been told that I'm hurting myself a little bit here. So we got to get out of the cave here. Listen, bro, that was awesome, man. I'm really get this. I'm really glad that the NFC East is back to being relevant again.
Ooh,
and I think it's going to be. Hey, you still pick the NFC North, right? Being the best division in the NFC.
No, NFC East is the best division.
Wow, really?
I think I think so because, well, I mean, I think Detroit's good. Green Bay, to me, Green Bay is going to be what Green Bay usually is. I think they're pretty much there. Minnesota,
quarterback.
We'll see. Chicago is another one. I mean, they went out and did a lot of things. Let's see what they are. Let's see what that quarterback is. And just remember the running game affects the passing game. That's what you guys can't discount in this whole thing. And that's why Jalen Hurts in that passing game is the best in the division. Easy. The guy
gets 18 touchdown passes, 2,900 yards because they want him to. And he's got the best passing attack.
18 blindfolded, my man.
18 hey,
eyes closed.
Do you know the guy at Army had more touchdown passes or touchdowns
18.
That played in Army? Hey, make sure you tell Make sure you tell the guys where to find you.
That matter.
Tell them, Mark, where to find you, big dog.
Not garbage.
Generally speaking, you can find Philly 500 under a rock there, but JAKIB Sports Report on Twitter, Facebook, on YouTube, everything. Just look for JAKIB Sports Report and you'll find me. Hell, as they put it, I do 50 million videos a day, so if you go on YouTube, chances are you'll come across one of them.
It's tripled, and it's going to triple this rest of this week. That's for sure.
Hey, is it 90% Dak? Is it 90% Dak, Philly?
No, he's like it's like you got to do a Dak video, then it's trash the Eagles video, then it's a food video, then it's a Micah video, then it's a Dak video again, then it's a Philly 500 trashing video.
Where's the Mike? No, any Micah Parsons videos?
Yeah, there's Micah.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. And then Amazi, you got to throw in Amazi Smith too.
Nobody triggers Mark as bad as Dak, though.
Yeah. So are you still going for Amari Cooper there, though?
I don't want
Oh,
him.
No, you tried.
I
You
think
tried
he's
to bust
winning
my
there.
dreams the other night.
No, I
You
think he's
came at
winning.
me with, "Oh, we're going to take Amari Cooper from the Cowboys."
I thought you would take. I never thought Dallas would trade for Pickens, and I never thought Pittsburgh would do it either. I thought the whole point of DK Metcalf was to get 2 wide receivers
You need a
to
running
attract
back,
Aaron
dog.
Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You might want
they
to
need
give
a
a
running
shot at Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
See if you got anything in the
Well,
tank.
Jaden Slater says, "No, that's not happening. That was never in
Thank
the
God
works."
Dallas did get Tyler Warren though. That would have been
That would've been nice.
some,
Yeah.
that would have
Yeah.
been something.
Yeah, why did you trade up for the Boise State kid? Genty, why don't you get him, man? I'd rather have you get Genty than the guard.
Yeah, that would've been scary.
Because you got to protect Dak. Dak can't run anymore, and you got to deal with that Eagles front line. Jalen Carter is a beast. I hope Tyler Booker is what they think he is, because we need that. Because there's no joke. You've got a bunch of thugs there for a defensive front, and they scare the shit out of me.
Yep, they're good. Philly, tell them where they can find you, brother.
Just type Philly 500, and I'll come right up. I appreciate you having me on, Sills. I love this kind of shit.
No
I
shit.
love. I
Me
could do this
too.
all day
Appreciate
long, man.
Me too,
All day
baby.
long, we could argue.
Absolutely, man.
We're just
I love you guys.
talking, baby. We're just talking.
Hey, do me
You
a
know.
favor, Mark. Stop hiding from me, man. Come on here. We want you to come on. Everybody ask every week for you to come on. All right,
Got a
we
lot
love-
going on
By the
here.
way, Xander loves your ass. Okay.
Pause.
Pause.
All right, guys, get the hell out of here. You guys
You
were awesome.
Xander.
I
All right,
appreciate
man.
you guys.
See ya.
You
Bye.
got it. That was awesome. Great stuff as always. Our good friends. By the way, make sure you check out their fabulous channels. They do a great job at covering the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. I love the shot of whiskey, too, that Mark took just to get ready for this whole group thing here. This guy goes, I'm going to need this here, man, just to settle my nerves. Bang, he sets it down there. Guys, don't forget my great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in the United States of America, with over $26 billion recovered for clients across the country. Morgan & Morgan, that is their track record. That is what they do. $30 million they ended up getting for a family in Pennsylvania here. $650K they were initially offered down in Florida. There was a family that was offered $350K. They ended up getting $12 million. If you're ever injured, please do me a favor and check out our friends at Morgan & Morgan by going forthepeople.com/big cells or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big cells or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Cell sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Man, I'll tell you one thing that triggers people. Don't ever say anybody does anything better than your girlfriend, Jalen Hurts. Winning the Super Bowl is not enough. You got to prop this guy up to being what he's not. Bro, he's a winner. Okay. Just deal with that. I'd rather be a winner than anything else. Okay? It's all good. He's the ultimate winner. Fantastic. So he's not the best passer. So what? Who cares? Who cares? Okay? That's irrelevant to what Philly said. Who cares? So get this. Dak Prescott is a better passer than Jalen Hurts. Whose offense would you rather have? Phillies. My quarterback doesn't have to win 4 games in a row. That's because of the personnel you have on the team, too. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. I said it in hour 1, and I'll say it again. Josh Allen has to win 4 games in a row, and I don't believe he can. I don't believe Lamar Jackson can. Jalen Hurts has never won 4 playoff games in a row where he was a superstar leading that unit. Ever. Doesn't matter. When he, like 500 said, Sills, he played great in the NFC and Super Bowl. Right. Great. That football team, and again, here's correct. Once again, you missed the entire point. Someone asked me a question on how George Pickens improved the Cowboys. I said he helped the passing game in Dallas. That's all. I didn't tell you they were better. I didn't tell you they closed the gap. I really didn't even move the sticks above 8.5 games for them. I think George Pickens is a nice piece. I never said that, again, every time somebody brought up something about he only had 18. I know. Because I'm going to take 500's thing. Well, they don't really want him to throw the ball because they can run it. Okay. How in the world can you be the best passing team in the NFC when they don't want you to do it? You just put it away and you're just assuming it? That's what you're saying? All right. Again, that's a theory. Look, like I said, just because the Bengals have the best passing offense, what does that mean? Okay? I mean, like I said, Jalen Hurts had 90 yards net passing in the Packer game. What do you have in the Ram game? 100 yards? I forget what it was. What do you have, 160 yards in total passing in the 2 games? That's a great thing. It's great. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. And again, hey, get this. What about his completion percentage? My friend, that's the only thing he hangs his hat on, because on every other passing from the pocket number, he's in the 20s. And when he's in sacks, he took 48 sacks. I mean, here, let me show you something here. Let me show you guys in the pocket. I'll tell you one thing about pocket presence. When we're talking again about quarterbacks that, again, this is just a passing conversation. Let me show you something here. Okay. Guy who took the most sacks last year, Caleb, 68. Let me show you something. Let's go down to Josh Allen. Josh Allen threw the football 500 times and had 14 sacks. Jalen Hurts threw the football 361 times and had 38 sacks in 15 games. I don't know. One guy's better in the pocket. That's a fact. Here, let's take a look at Burrow. Here's Burrow. Burrow threw the ball 652 times, doubled Jalen Hurts. And he had 48 sacks and threw the ball twice as much. And Hurts had 38 and threw the ball 306. Get this. He threw the ball 361 times. And Burrow threw the ball 652 times. Double. And that's why Burrow in the passing. And again, that doesn't translate. I'm not talking about Super Bowls. I'm not talking about winning playoff games. Somebody asked me the impact, once again, of George Pickens. That's it. Here, let me do this. Hey, what offense would I rather have? I'd rather have the Eagle offense. Why? Because you can't stop the run game. Just because George Pickens was added to the Cowboys and the passing game, that doesn't necessarily mean they're a better offense when it comes to total offense. Are they going to win more games with George Pickens? I doubt it. I doubt it. By the way, you added one component from the 2000. Do we not agree? One player was added to the 2023 roster, and it was Saquon Barkley. One player from the 22 team, the 23 team, and the 24 championship team. One player, Barkley. Everybody else has been there pretty much the last 3 years, right? Same guys, pretty much, except for the right guard position. I mean, and by the way, congratulations. The organization did a great job. Excuse me. I didn't know he played on the offensive side of the football, kid. What's that got to do with the fact that the only person that was the game changer on the offense was the guy you added a year ago? That's the point, dude. Try to stay with me, kid. All right. I know it's kind of a train of thought thing for you, and you're kind of like a carp that sits in a lake and you have the shiny lure. Get this. Nobody's blaming anybody. Not blaming anybody. Kudos. Nobody's throwing shade. All right. Oh, this is one of my favorites. Rank me the top 7 wide receivers in the East. Who are they? Who would be number 1 for you? Who would be number 1? AJ, says Forrest Hill. Who'd be the number 1 wideout in the East? In the East. NFC East. AJ. Let's see if we go down the line here. Number 1 in the East. Yep. in the East, brother. NFC East. CD. Okay. AJ. I'm going AJ Brown. Okay. Number 2. Who would be number 2 in the NFC East wide receivers? Who would be number 2? CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb. Okay. Number 2, CeeDee. Here's where it starts getting interesting. Who would be number 3 in the NFC East? Wide receivers. I got AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb. Who's third? What do you think is third? Let's see here. I'm going Terry McLaurin. Let's just double check, even just for see what McLaurin did last year. 82 catches, 1,100 yards. Yeah. Okay. Just double checking. Terry McLaurin. So, AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin. Who would be number 4? It's got Devontae. Let's see here. Who would be number 4? Smitty. I'm going to go with the guy with 100 catches, 109 and 1,300 yards. I'm going Malik Neighbors. Smitty a year ago. What do you have? Let me see. Where is he? He's 40th. 68 catches, 800 yards. And you want me to go over Malik Neighbors at 1,200 yards and 110 catches? I don't think so. So I'll go Malik Neighbors at number 4. Number 5. Who's at number 5? Who do you got at 5? Get this. Malik Neighbors had 110 catches and 1,200 yards, and I can't tell you who quarterback there last year. I can't even tell you who their quarterback was. Anyway, number 5. I've got Devontae Smith at number 5. Let's see number 6. Let's see here. How far down the list here do we have to go for? Let's see here. George Pickens. So I'm putting it 5. Let's see here. George Pickens. There he is. 900 yards, 60 catches. Not awful, especially on a shitty passing team a year ago. I mean, Justin Fields was the quarterback. And I put Debo at number 7, would be my wide receivers in the league of the NFC East. So I've got AJ Brown, 1. CeeDee Lamb, 2. Cowboys. Terry McLaurin, Washington. Malik Neighbors, 4. Giants. 5, Devontae Smith. 6, George Pickens, Cowboys. 7, Deebo Samuel. All right. So who has the best duos of wideouts? Eagles and Smith. CD Pickens or McLaurin and Deebo? Who would you take number 1? Eagles, says 500. I'm not asking you about the quarterback. He's not involved in this. I'm asking you about the 2 wideouts. Okay? CD's a slot receiver. Man, I'd love to see A.J. Brown in the slot. He would terrorize teams. I don't know why the Eagles don't do it. He would terrorize teams. Can you imagine him playing against free safeties and strong safeties? He would terrorize them. You know, that's one of the things for me about Lamb. Lamb goes against lesser players than what AJ does. AJ lines up in the best corner and usually on that respected team. He lines up against lesser players. And he gets a ton of numbers. And I think that's probably the point. And I will give one thing to you, Texas. I will totally give you one thing, too. Lamb is, without a doubt, he's pretty resilient when it comes to taking a pretty big toll. There's more traffic inside. Okay, he's got to run into linebackers sometimes. He's got to run into free and strong safeties. That's a big physical task that you're talking that player has to go through. Okay? That is without a doubt. Okay? A.J. Brown's pretty quick, though. He is. If I were to pick my guys, my duo of wideouts, passing, I'm going to take A.J. Brown all day because what? I'm going to tell you what the greatest thing about that guy, why I like him more than, hey, 500, you're going to like this. Can you imagine having this on your resume? Not only did you put up numbers, but you blocked for Derrick Henry and you blocked for Saquon Barkley. I don't know about you guys. And you still get numbers. It's pretty impressive. Seals, Jalen can't see over the O-line, so AJ in the slot would be disastrous. True. A Draymond Green type of crash out waiting to happen. Oh, boy. Hey, but remember, the Eagles don't have to throw the ball to win. You know, that's what I'm told. They don't have to throw it to win. Not on a week-to-week basis. They proved that last year. That was proven all year. Kudos. You don't have to throw the ball. You don't have to be consistent in the passing game. I get it. No doubt about it. It's a luxury. Lamb definitely tougher than I thought. Me too. I didn't think he could hold up like that. Okay, I do. He puts up great numbers. Lamb has big numbers from having no one else around him in that offense. Probably so. Probably so. Then again, let's not be crazy here. You don't really have a wide receiver core. You have 2 dudes. And that's where you throw the ball to. You throw the ball to either Devontae or AJ. You barely find Goddard. You don't really find him. You don't really use him. You don't really throw to the middle of the field. You throw to those guys when you do throw it. And like I said, I mean, what was crazy about how good you guys were and how little you threw the ball, to the point I was trying to make the 500. Here. I mean, of the top 20 quarterbacks that play, and again, to the strength of the Eagles, Burrow led it with, let's see here, 652. And let's see, Hurts was what? He threw the ball as many times as Daniel Jones did. And Drake May. That's where they were compatible in attempts. Drake May and Daniel Jones. And let's see here. Yeah. Bryce Young, Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones, and Drake May threw the ball pretty much around the same amount of attempts. Again, you didn't have to. Why? Because Barkley ran the ball. Okay. Not a problem. It's not an indictment. Okay? So again, how can you have a top 10 offense? How can you what you're saying to me when you say that Jalen Hurts is a top 10 passing offense? How can you say that? It's theory. You don't prove it every week because you don't have to. Okay, then it's theory. You're trying to make a theory out of it. Well, we can if we had to because we played well in the NFC title game in the Super Bowl. Well, okay. But you don't do it week to week like every other team in the league does because you don't have to. I know. No one's debating it and no one's stating it. Okay? Again, how's that false? How can you have a top 10 offense? How can you be the top passer in the NFC when you don't throw it? It's theory. It's not a narrative. It's fact. You threw the ball as many times as Drake May did. It's not a theory. Fact. I mean, it's fact. Well, I believe, no, that's a theory. Because we had Barkley. I know. I got it. This is not rocket science. That's not the point. You're missing it, dude. That's not the point. How do you insult the offense? You won the Super Bowl because you ran the ball. I don't know what you're talking about. Once again, nobody's insulting anything. Oh, again, your point is pointless. No, somebody asked me a question on how George Pickens and his impact in the passing game was going to affect the Cowboys. And I said it. It improved them because Dak is shown he's one of the better passers in the game. That doesn't translate to Super Bowls. Never said that. I'm not sure what you're talking about again. Stupidity in its take because you get butthurt again when someone says something about your girlfriend. I think my Cowboys win 6 games this year. Dak isn't him. Probably so. I don't believe Dak in the postseason either. He needs more around him. If Dak Prescott's going to win a Super Bowl, it will not be in doubts. They need a running game, a better O-line, and I think they need a lot more work in the offense to have some more skilled guys. Okay? Dak is going to put up 4,800 yards if healthy this year. Probably around there, 4,500 yards. And they'll be playing from behind. Jalen will never throw from that playing from behind or in front or whatever because they don't have to. Right? Okay. Team is built better. They do better jobs at evaluating talent. I know. I'm not sure what you're talking about. That wasn't the question. Nobody's talking about the Cowboys being better offensively than you. What are you talking about? I agree. I don't get you guys. You think, get this. Once again, this guy doesn't get it. You're not paid on wins. You're paid on numbers. Ask AJ. You are paid on numbers in this league. You go to the Hall of Fame on numbers, on what you acquire. You don't go to the Hall of Fame. Like I pointed out, Julian Edelman's got 3 Super Bowl rings and an MVP and a Super Bowl. He ain't going nowhere near it. He's not paid on wins, never was. He was never one of the highest paid guys. He was awful productive. All-time catch leader in postseason play. No, the point is it only made them better in the passing game. That was the question, and I answered it. Now, if somebody asked me, did it make them a better offense? Yeah, passing. But are they better than the Eagles? No. It is, oh my God, for you, never mind, because you don't know what I'm talking about. We don't care about their pay. We are fans. I know. I'm not sure what you're talking about. A question was asked, and I answered it. As long as our passing game is one of the most efficient. Well, again, you won the Super Bowl last year because you ran the ball. Let's see here. Yeah. Absolutely. It's exhausting. Right. It is. I never told you Dak Prescott's going to win a Super Bowl. If other teams can't stop the run, and they can't, why would anyone but A. Reed stop running it? You wouldn't. So it's an indictment, shade on the Birds passing game. Well, I don't care how you slice it up, Mad D. Whatever delivers the Lombardi, what do you care? So you're throwing shade on an offense that delivered a 2,000-yard rusher and a Super Bowl MVP because, again, Jalen Hurts doesn't have to play great every week. That's a cool thing. There's no team in the league. Think about this, for instance. You know what makes the Eagles so hard to beat? Your quarterback doesn't have to be great every week. Name me a team in the league that has that distinction. Name me one. One team. Name me one team that if their quarterback doesn't play great every week, they win. Name me one. Philly's the only one. I think that's a great thing. It talks about the construction of the team and the putting the right pieces in play. Again, quarterback didn't have to play. Here, let's take a look at Jalen Hurts during the playoffs and see if he played great every week. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the postseason. Let's take a look at this here. Scores. Okay. Let's take a look at the division. Let's take a look at the divisional round. How well he played. Let's go down to Eagles. Here we go. Let's see. Barkley had 205 yards versus the Rams in the divisional round. Jalen threw the ball for 128 yards. Let me see. What was the net in that thing? Let's see what we got here. Passing. Let's see here. And again, this is about the passing game. It's a conversation on the passing game. It's not an indictment on anything else except for that. Let's see here. Against the Rams, Barkley went for 205, 8 yards a carry. Let's see here. Team stats. Eagles had 65 yards passing as a team in the Rams game. All right. Let's see what Jalen did in the conference game. I know he was better in this one. Let's see here. Hurts. Great. Let's see here. Let's go down here. Go up. 230 yards. Like I said, he played great. Like he didn't have to play great in the Rams game. He had 60 yards passing. Nobody wins games like that. I mean, it's a credit to your team. Let's take a look at during the regular season. Let's go down to the regular season games here and see how well Jalen played let's go after the bye and see what he did after the bye. Shall we? Let's take a look at this. Scores. There we go. Let's go to, what was that? Week 5? Week 5. See, those coming right out of the bye. Let's see here. And I'm making a point here. Let's see here. Oh, that's week 5. My bad. Here's week 6 because that's after the bye. Correct. Let's see what he did here when they changed their philosophy. Let's see here. This is a good game against Cleveland. Cleveland, he was good. They had 256 yards passing. That's good against Cleveland. I like Cleveland's defense. Jim Schwartz, week 7. Let's see what he did here. Let's go down the line here. That was against the Gigantes. Let's see here. Barkley had 176 yards. The Eagles against the Giants. They had 70. They had 70 yards passing against the Giants. That was week 7. Week 8 against the Bengals. I think he played good in that game. Let's see. Yeah, he did. That's a good game against the Bengals. They had 230 yards passing. It's good. Let's go here. Week 9. The Jaguars. Not a very good football team. They had 155 passing. All right. Especially when you got Barkley. Let's see here. Week 10. Again, I'm making a point. This kid don't have to play good every week. Now, this was the Cowboys. They had 160 passing. Okay. Let's go week 11. Just a couple more. Against Commanders. .200 passing. These aren't awful. Do one more. 12. take a look down here. Here's the Rams. I thought he played pretty well in this game, didn't he? Let's see here. Against the Rams in Los Angeles. Eagles had 148 yards passing. Once again, my point is, you don't have to play good every week. I want a guy's running the ball for 285 yards a game. I mean, so when you tell me you have a great and prolific passing game, I mean, it's theory. Sills, would you say the reason why Bowles wins against Jalen is because his focus is on defense, is only go after Jalen and not worry about what the receivers do because having him scramble is better? Absolutely. I think moving Jalen Hurts around in the pocket is the way to beat him because the coordinators that he struggles with, it was the guys that force him right. It forces him right because you know why? You can defend that. If you know his habit, look, I'll tell you, Abe, this is how you defend a guy like Hurts. There's a front door, there's a side door, back door, and there's an escape hatch, they call it. There's 4 ways to get away from a sack. Hurts likes to go through the back door going right and rolling right. So what do? You set your defense that way to defend him that way because he's not going to go across the body. He's going to throw, as he always does, down the sidelines. Well, what's the one thing that you're doing when you force him right? It's a great question. One of the reasons why you force him right, there's 12 men on the field. Hey, do you understand what I'm saying? There's 12 men on the field when you do that. Why is that? When you force Hurts right, or you have him on the run, you have 12 defenders. Why? Sideline. Half the field. Okay? Agreed. No one's debating it. Well, Chris, to call yourself a top and the best passing offense in football is a disservice to how you won the Super Bowl. And to one other point, you're throwing shade on how you won and where you were dominant this year. You're actually criticizing yourselves by saying and calling yourself something you're not. You didn't get that whole exercise today. You guys ripped what you did all day long. I'd rather be the running attack, killing teams, running them over, versus a team that's considered one of the top 5 passing teams. What makes no sense? You won a Super Bowl. What am I missing that you're not getting? I'll help you here. You ripped calling yourself that you're a top 5 passing team today when you weren't. And you won it by being the most dominant offense in the league. You weren't dominant by throwing it. You were dominant by running teams over. Why would you throw shade on that? You broke records that no other team has ever run for more yards in NFL history. And you threw shade on that all day by saying you're a top passing team. How crazy is that? You won a Super Bowl by running the ball the way you did, and you threw shade on it all day. And once again, one simple question. How did it make, okay, being efficient doesn't mean you're the best. When you're efficient throwing it 4 times versus a team that throws it 7 times or 10 times, you're efficient in running it. You ran the ball 35 times a game. You had a back for the year run it for 400 carries, counting the playoffs. You had a quarterback. Get this, the quarterback touched the ball more. Or no, the running back touched the ball more than the quarterback did in attempts. How are you a passing team? Correct? And You didn't think Barkley was good. How do you remember you saying that? Oh, completely saying that. Because the Giants said it. Don't you think if the Giants thought he was good, they would have traded him? He would have been a trade. They let him walk out the building. They didn't even offer him a contract. I wasn't the only one. The team that drafted him second overall didn't think he was. Not that the Giants make great decisions. I mean, hey, I sit here every day 4 hours. I'm not the general manager of the New York Giants. He didn't even ask for a trade. He just let the guy walk out the building and lie to him. Well, if the Giant owner was that good, I thought the Giant owner makes decisions. It's his call, isn't it? I mean, right? I mean, if you're the owner of the team, why don't you act like it? Hey, I don't want to trade him. I don't want him traded. I agree. Know what he's doing. Hey, and they ruined a Hall of Fame player. Well, let me just say this to you. The Dallas Cowboys ain't going anywhere. I don't give a shit what they think this move meant. That did not move the meter for me. Okay? That did not move the meter for me. They are not good in the O-line and D-line. Hey, Sills, they got a better passing game. Great. Okay. I saw a team who didn't have to pass the ball beat the hell out of you. Dude, every time the Giants lined up against the Eagles, it was an ass beating. Hey, Sills, they could throw the ball better in Dallas. Great. Great. Good. What? I mean, that's right. Hey, that's right. I mean, this guy's better than Malik Neighbors. Right, because he won a ring, of course. You know, I mean. I got to hand, hey, finally here, I got to hand it to the Eagles. Congratulations to you guys. I mean, you waited out Goddard. You shamed them good in the public, made them take a pay cut, shamed them back into walking home. I like it. Hey, you think the grass is greener over there on the other side, son? Go out there and try to find. I'll show you the teams that want you. Tennessee, Carolina, the Jets. Yeah. Why don't you come back home? Oh, by the way, you know that $10 I give you every week, I'm only giving you, let's see. I'm only going to give you 8. You know, you used to get $10 every week. Now you get 8. You want to come back? You don't get that extra $2. You mean I have to come back for $8? Yeah, you're going to make $8 a week, not 10. Jeez. Well, come on. Ain't nobody really out there. Come on, son. I had the most receptions in the postseason. Yeah, I know. We're going to take a pay cut here. We'll take $2 for you. Just for making me wait. I'm sure that'll go over well. Hey, can you imagine A.J. Brown being told to take a $5 million pay cut? Gee. Hey, I can't wait for that day to come. If A.J. wants to, if I'm A.J., get ready. They're going to treat him the same way they're treating Goddard. That's coming. They're going to tell A.J., hey, want to come back? You know that $35 million you're making? Yeah, I think it's going to be more like 25. AJ's going to go. I don't want to go. Wait a minute. I got to take a $10 million pay cut. Yeah, you want to stay here. That's what they did with Brady because of the love of Hurts. Wait a minute. You guys told me that Dallas Goddard came back for, because you want to play with Hurts. Well, doesn't AJ want to? He'll take a pay cut too, right? Okay. Great stuff. What a great win. Great day today. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit that like button. We thank you guys so much. Hit that like button. We will see you tomorrow, 2 to 6. We appreciate Mark and Philly 500 coming aboard with us today. 2 to 6 tomorrow. We'll see you on the flip side.